What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy, Omni-sensei. Welcome to What If Whitebeard Was Sent to Naruto World and Adopted Naruto, Part 3. If you enjoy this type of content, please gently obliterate the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Remember to check out the original story linked in the description. Without further ado, let's get into it. Whitebeard, to some extent, knew that there was a creature lurking inside Naruto. Yet, the intricate details were beyond his knowledge. Truthfully, Whitebeard wasn't overly concerned. In his eyes, his son is just that, his son. What if he harbored a monster within? Doesn't care, it didn't change the fact that Naruto was his child. However, Naruto cared deeply. Nine-Tails Jinchuriki? Naruto froze upon hearing the term, struggling beneath his hefty burden. He tried to lift his head to meet the ever-so-slightly shifting gaze of Kakashi. Naruto, in confusion, inquired, "Uncle Kakashi, what does this mean? Why am I the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki?" He didn't grasp the gravity of the term. Yet, he could deduce its connection to the demon fox. With this realization, Naruto's emotions began to spiral. Is this why the villagers despise me so much? Kakashi fell silent. After a while, under Naruto's expectant gaze, Kakashi could only muster, "Naruto, some things will be clear when you're older. The Hokage will tell you then." "White-haired brat." Whitebeard's voice rang out. "Why aren't you answering to Naruto's questions? If Naruto wishes to know, then tell him." A loud thud echoed as Whitebeard's weapon struck the ground just inches from Kakashi, causing a gust of wind to brush Kakashi's heel. In front of Naruto, who looked forward to begging for the answer and the intimidating presence of Whitebeard, Kakashi wants to slap his own face yet, when he gazed upon Naruto's small, slightly bashful, and fatigued face, marked by the strains of rigorous special training. Two faces flashed through his mind. Kushina and Minato. A Jinchuriki is a person who is either possessed by a tailed beast or its chakra. They're the vessel that seals away the tailed beast. Kakashi spoke up, no longer avoiding the question. Tailed beast? Vessel? Whitebeard's eyebrow quirked. "Whitebeard, you've probably sensed that Naruto has an unfathomable potential within him," Kakashi elaborated. "But that potential is only a fraction of what's truly inside him. The greater portion is held by the tailed beast, specifically the Nine Tails. This entity is the source of Naruto's remarkable abilities. Naruto's frequent near-death experiences, where a surge of orange chakra would envelop him. In fact, it was the Nine Tails chakra. When this revelation ends, Whitebeard was unfazed by the revelation because he had indeed suspected it. However, Naruto was dumbfounded. "I have a tailed beast inside me? It's called Nine Tails." Suddenly, memories of peculiar dreams flooded back. Dreams where he encountered a strange creature. The creature was extremely large. "The Konoha village doesn't truly know its name," Kakashi added, his expression pained. "The name Nine Tails is just a nickname the village has given this powerful beast." Realization dawned upon the young Naruto. "Is this why I was treated as an outcast?" Kakashi nodded gravely. "The tailed beast is dangerous. 5 years ago, it brought immense destruction to the Konoha village. At that time, many people died." As Naruto looked devastated by the revelation, Kakashi hastily added, "But this isn't your fault. The Nine Tails did that." Naruto's strength seemed to fade all at once. More than 200 pounds of weight directly weighed him down. Naruto fell to the ground. "Inside me resides a monster that harmed the village." His conviction to become Hokage, to be loved by everyone, now seemed shattered. Whispers echoed in his mind. "Am I truly a monster? Have I hurt everyone? I. His mood was incredibly chaotic. The seal that suppressed the Nine Tails was crumbling. His pupils began morphing, taking on a beastly appearance. "Even the Hokage knew, but he didn't tell me. It turned out I was really a demon fox." Naruto's 10 nails gradually extended, becoming razor-sharp. Inside Naruto, the Nine Tails laughed maniacally. "Yes, this is it. This Kakashi is much more to my liking than Whitebeard." The darkness in the boy's heart is rising. Nine Tails' huge body slammed into the seal. The laughter on its face looked really happy. "Speak more. Speak more. As long as this brat's emotions completely collapse, I can take this opportunity to try to break this damn seal." The Nine Tails chakra was wildly spreading within Naruto. It was constantly affecting Naruto's mind, and affecting Naruto's body. Kakashi, who was watching Naruto undergo this change with wide eyes, quickly stopped talking. He pressed his hands on Naruto's shoulders, his palms touching the Nine-Tails chakra emanating from Naruto's body. The inexplicably cold and sinister chakra. It made Kakashi's expression change dramatically. "Naruto, calm down," Kakashi hurriedly advised. "All of this is done by the Nine-Tails, not you. You are not a demon fox. It is the real culprit. Naruto?" Kakashi found that Naruto couldn't hear a word. It was as if his hearing was being interfered with by the Nine-Tails chakra. "I don't know if my sealing technique works on tailed beasts." Kakashi took a deep breath. He couldn't let Naruto continue like this. If Naruto would go berserk. However, at this moment, Kakashi suddenly noticed a huge crisis coming from above his head. Looking up, he saw a huge fist smashing down. He was so scared that he teleported away in an instant. Bang! A fist larger than Naruto's entire body slammed hard onto Naruto. Like hammering a nail, it smashed Naruto directly into the ground. The terrifying power caused the ground to tremble violently. The power of this punch could probably flatten a piece of steel. "You foolish son!" Whitebeard's roar carried an unparalleled conqueror's haki. "Don't let the power you possess sway your will." Boom! The conqueror's haki washed over Naruto's spirit. The strong punch shattered the Nine-Tails chakra. It made Naruto spit out foam directly. His eyes rolled up. He fainted on the spot. "Damn Whitebeard!" The fearsome Nine-Tails smile suddenly froze. Naruto felt like he had a very lucid dream. This dream made everything he encountered feel very real. He dreamed that he came to a place that looked like a prison. There was water everywhere under his feet, and the air was very damp and gloomy. The prison was huge, so big that he felt like he had become a tiny ant, and he could vaguely see a huge shadow inside the prison. Naruto remembered that he had dreamed of this place before. Only this time, the dream was particularly clear. In the dream, he vaguely heard the huge figure in the prison muttering, and Naruto could guess that it seemed to be a tone of complaint. He heard words like "damn Whitebeard." "Hey, you're not allowed to curse Pops." Naruto didn't know who was in the prison, but Pops was so good to him. He would never allow anyone to speak ill of Pop. Huh. A certain Nine-Tails turned its huge head in surprise. It looked down and saw Naruto's tiny body. In an instant, the Nine-Tails bared its teeth. "Brat, you actually came here?" Its face was ferocious, like a beast ready to eat people. The murderous intent surging in the sealed space was incredibly chilling. It never had any good feelings for humans. All it had was hatred and murderous intent. At first, the Nine-Tails didn't feel anything about humans until one day it was inexplicably caught by someone. Then that bastard put a Susanoo on it and controlled it to fight with an incredibly strong guy. It remembered being beaten very badly. Yes, it was beaten up. Then, it became a tool for humans, inexplicably sealed inside a human body. After that human finally died, it was sealed inside another person's body. It finally came out, but then it was controlled by someone again. When it regained consciousness, the Nine-Tails was shocked to find that its body had been forcibly split in half. One half of its body ran off somewhere unknown. The other half is now sealed inside a kid named Uzumaki Naruto, calling out to the heavens all day with no answer from above, calling out to the earth, but receiving no response from below. Today it finally had a chance to break free from the seal, but it was ruined by that damn Whitebeard. How could the Nine-Tails not be angry? It was furious. This anger, coupled with its hatred for humans, made the murderous intent released by the Nine-Tails when it looked at Naruto very surging. If the murderous intent of the Nine-Tails is a vast ocean, then Naruto is just a small boat, floating with the waves. Gulp. When the body of the Nine-Tails fully appeared in front of him, 5-year-old Naruto inevitably felt fear. But when he thought about how this big fox had just spoken ill of Pops, he didn't know where he got the courage from. Naruto tried hard to straighten his back. He tightened his little face. I'm not afraid of you." Suddenly recalling what Kakashi had said, Naruto widened his eyes and said, "Could you be the tailed beast Nine-Tails that Uncle Kakashi talked about? Are you the one who turned me into the demon fox in the village?" Heh, the Nine-Tails exhaled a breath. The strange and sinister gale almost blew Naruto onto his butt in the water. The Nine-Tails showed its sharp teeth. It grinned and laughed. "Yes, it's me. I even killed many people back then. Are you angry, brat?" Naruto clenched his teeth hard. How could he not be angry? "Ha, little brat, there's something you don't know yet. That white-haired little devil hid quite a few things from you back then." Nine-Tails laughed heartily. "Over these years, I've been inside you, watching you being isolated, ridiculed, and bullied. It's hilarious. Ha ha ha. Damn it. Naruto gritted his teeth. So all of this is because of you. Don't blame the tailed beasts indiscriminately. Stinky brat. Nine Tails laughed wildly. It's not like I wanted to stay here. The one who sealed me inside you was your biological father. Ha 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 ha. Get lost, little brat. Naruto sat up from the ground, sweating profusely. When he opened his eyes, he found that the prison in front of him had disappeared. The Nine Tails are also gone. The scene he could see now was a familiar yet strange forest. When Naruto tried to stand up, he suddenly lost his balance and almost fell. He instinctively reached out and grabbed something. The familiar touch of the object made Naruto realize that he was lying on Whitebeard's shoulder. He had slept on Whitebeard's shoulder and had a nightmare. Stupid son, are you awake? Whitebeard, whose beard was pulled, glanced at the awakened Naruto. Pops. Naruto's tumultuous thoughts settled down. For some reason, Naruto, who dreamed of the Nine Tails, was easily restless. But when he saw Whitebeard, an unprecedented sense of security, it calmed Naruto down. Naruto, are you okay? Do you feel anything wrong with your body? Did anything strange happen when you fell asleep? Another concerned voice sounded from the same side. Kakashi was the one speaking. Yesterday, when Kakashi saw the Nine Tails chakra raging in Naruto's body, even growing 2 tails behind him, he was so scared that his back was soaked with cold sweat. Fortunately, Whitebeard knocked Naruto out with a single punch, the force of which gave Kakashi quite a scare. Kakashi was worried that Naruto might never wake up after taking that punch. I think I dreamt of a huge fox. Naruto recalled his dream and said, it was bad-mouthing Pops, so I told it not to speak ill of him. A fox? The Nine Tails? Sweat dripped from Kakashi's forehead. His biggest worry was that Naruto, in his immature state of mind, would be influenced by the tailed beast. Did it say anything to you? Kakashi asked. It said? Naruto spoke softly. It said it was sealed inside me by my biological father. Kakashi. Not good. Whitebeard's brow furrowed deeper than Naruto's. Looking at the downcast Naruto, he snorted. He sealed such a dangerous thing in his own son? Is this the act of a good father? Absolutely not. Uncle Kakashi, is this true? Naruto asked. Is that big fox lying to me? Kakashi fell silent. If it were only Naruto present, he might have told a white lie, but Whitebeard was also there. It's true. Kakashi tried to defend his teacher, but your biological father. He had his difficulty. The situation was urgent at the time. This might have been the best solution. Nonsense. Whitebeard scorned. No matter how difficult it is for a father, he can't let his child bear all this. Has he ever thought about Naruto being discriminated against? Has he ever thought about Naruto being bullied? Has he ever cared about Naruto? Bad father. Whitebeard didn't understand why a father would let his child suffer all these hardships. He thought this was a manifestation of irresponsibility, and he began to criticize Namake's Minato sharply. This left Kakashi speechless, unable to refute. At first, Whitebeard thought that the evil energy within Naruto was innate to him, a special talent that set him apart from ordinary people. Even though this power was extraordinary and evil. But after all, it was Naruto's own. Isn't this a unique talent? However, Whitebeard now found that Naruto was actually possessed by a very dangerous monster living in his body, threatening Naruto's life. This made Whitebeard think that Naruto's biological father was extremely irresponsible. Pops, he's not my father. Naruto was silent for a long time before finally saying this. Whitebeard plainly pointed out the wrongs of Naruto's biological father, and the 5-year-old Naruto felt more and more hurt as he listened. He thought what the Pop said was right. Why should he, a child, bear all this? Why seal such a terrifying monster in his body? There are so many powerful ninjas in the Konoha village. Why does it have to be him? Naruto bit his lip tightly and once again firmly said, He is not my father. I don't want to know who he is. I only know that you Pops are my father. Gururarara. Stupid son. Whitebeard was very happy. Don't think too much, I'm by your side. Naruto swept away the frustration on his little face. He nodded heavily, and his face returned to a bright smile. In Naruto's heart, his parents, who had been dead for many years, could not give him warmth or bring him family ties. However, Whitebeard can do it. I hope the teacher can't hear these words in heaven, Kakashi muttered to himself. In fact, he also thought that what Minato-sensei did might be a bit irresponsible. The will of fire should be, where the leaves flutter, the fire is endless. The fire will continue to illuminate the village and let new leaves sprout. This signifies that the older generation is sacrificing themselves for the benefit of the younger generation. But after the older generation sacrifice themselves, can they really let go of everything and not care about anything? Why should the young ones have to carry this burden? Have you thought about the young one's future? Thinking about it, Kakashi was absent-minded while Kakashi was lost in thought. He suddenly had an epiphany. Hold on. Kakashi was suddenly startled. As he followed behind Whitebeard, his eyes wandered left and right and finally came to a conclusion that baffled him. This is no longer within the borders of the Land of Fire. While he was thinking, he unconsciously followed Whitebeard and left the borderline of the Land of Fire. That is to say, after Kakashi Hatake accepted the task from the Hokage, he actually watched as Whitebeard took Naruto away from the Land of Fire? Right. The Hokage's order seems to only require me to follow Whitebeard, but it doesn't ask me to do anything specific. The shock in Kakashi's eyes gradually subsided. I see, the Hokage must have had his reasons. His gaze returned to the Ika paradise in his hand. Kakashi is not a coward, but after thinking about it, Kakashi still sent a ninja dog back to report. He squatted down and patted the small ninja dog's head. Pakken, take this scroll back to Konoha. This task is up to you. The ninja dog Pakken couldn't help but roll his eyes. It was the only ninja dog that could speak human language and communicate with humans. I am a non-combatant ninja dog. You want me to do this kind of thing? This is not a fight. It's just right for your specialty. A smile appeared under Kakashi's mask. Ninja dog Pakken. Gururarara. White-haired brat. The various countries in your ninja world don't seem to have any differences. Whitebeard knew that Kakashi had sent a small dog back to report. But Whitebeard didn't care. Because this is a small country, Kakashi recalled their current location. Even without a map in hand, his astonishing memory made everything clear in his mind. If I'm not mistaken, this should be the Land of Grass, a neighboring small country located northwest of Konoha village, Kakashi explained. Although there are also ninja villages in such small countries, due to their small size, it is difficult for them to form unique cultural geography, and they are vastly different from the 5 great nations. This is quite different from One Piece. In the world of pirates, even 2 adjacent islands have very different styles, but these countries in the ninja world, especially in some small countries, their cultural styles have been completely assimilated by the major countries. Most small countries do not show characteristics different from other countries, and this grass country, that's one of them. If they have a ninja village here, does that mean this country also has a Kage? Naruto, who had recovered his emotions and was leaving the Konoha village and the Land of Fire for the first time, was curious about everything. Kakashi shook his head and said, not every country's strongest ninja in the village can be called Kage. By convention, only the strongest in the 5 great nations can be called Kage by others. We'd better not cause trouble here, Kakashi kindly reminded. Otherwise, it's very likely to cause a diplomatic incident between the Konoha village and the Kusagakure village. As soon as this reminder was spoken, Kakashi suddenly paused. He found that this reminder couldn't remind anyone. Remind Naruto? A 5-year-old kid, what trouble could he cause? Remind Whitebeard? He's not from the Konohagakure village at all. Whitebeard is a pirate. Forget what I said. Hey. What's with this giant? And that white-haired guy with a mask looks familiar. The one he's wearing, could it be the forehead protector of the Konoha village? In the distance, 3 ninjas were holding telescopes, secretly observing Whitebeard, Kakashi, and Naruto. The 3 people spying in secret were actually ninjas from the Kusagakure village. In the end, Whitebeard and his crew brazenly entered the Land of Grass, and Whitebeard's imposing presence was impossible to overlook. Under such circumstances, it's difficult for the ninjas of the Kusa village, who noticed this group of people, not to pay attention to them. Konoha forehead protector, white hair, mask man. Among them, a ninja from the Kusa village quickly took out a small booklet from his bosom. After flipping through a dozen pages, he was suddenly shocked. This guy is the copy ninja of the Konohagakure village, Kakashi of the Sharingan. What? The other 2 Kusagakure ninjas were also shocked. That booklet was actually a booklet recording ninjas from various villages who were wanted. Under the name Hatake Kakashi, it clearly stated that his bounty was 30 million ryo. Gulp. The 3 Kusagakure ninjas swallowed in secret. Both Kakashi's reputation and his bounty shocked them. Quickly go back and report to the leader. One of them looked nervous and immediately set off. The ninja from the Konohagakure village suddenly came to the Land of Grass. There must be no good. You 2 keep an eye on them. Don't let them leave your sight. Don't let them discover you. The remaining 2 ninjas from the Kusagakure village immediately nodded. They held their telescopes and carefully watched Whitebeard and others in the distance. The distance between here and Whitebeard and others was at least 1 kilometer. They thought this distance was safe, until, in their telescopes, they suddenly saw one of those 3 people, a giant, glance in their direction. They were so scared that their telescopes fell to the ground. Cold sweat broke out on their backs and foreheads. Is it a coincidence? What a run-down country! It can't compare to the land of fire at all. Naruto gazed at a town in the land of grass not far away. He scratched his head and asked, "Dad, is there any need to rob such a place?" Rather than calling it a town, it would be more accurate to call it a village. It was even more backward than the villages in the land of fire. Looking around, all he could see were old wooden houses. The exteriors of the houses didn't have any particularly bright colors. It gave off a gloomy feeling. Don't compare major countries with minor ones. Can minor countries compare with major ones? Kakashi said helplessly. And can you stop thinking about robbery whenever you see a town? Kakashi felt that Naruto had been led astray by Whitebeard, who teaches their child to be a pirate. At this moment, Whitebeard and his group, who had entered a rundown town in the grass country, scared the locals quite a bit. A giant who looked very scary, and a ninja with a Konoha headband. They were definitely not to be messed with. As for Naruto, he was ignored. After all, this wasn't Konoha. No one would care about a blonde kid here. Before long, Whitebeard and his group arrived at a tavern in the rundown town. With a terrified expression on the tavern owner's face, Whitebeard grinned and said, "Bring out all the fine wine and meat you have here. My stupid son needs to eat a lot of meat every day when he's growing." Okay. The tavern owner was so scared that his legs went soft. He practically slid into the kitchen while leaning against the wall. This scene made Kakashi twitch at the corner of his mouth, but he had to admit that sometimes looking scary was indeed useful. No need to be polite or humble. People would just listen to you obediently. People are afraid of death, after all. While Whitebeard and his group were feasting, inside the Kusagakure village in the land of grass. Haha, my lord, everything can be discussed. The leader of the Kusagakure village accepted a money box handed over by the lord of the grass country. He squinted his eyes and smiled. "We ninjas do our jobs. My lord doesn't need to worry too much." "Humph, I hope so. The daimyo of the land of grass is a male. He had so much fat on his body that it looked like he was pregnant, dressed in luxurious clothes, holding a round fan in his hand." The lord glanced at the leader of the Kusagakure village. "I have a time requirement. I must get his head within a month. And the head must be kept very intact. If the head is not intact, I can't use it as a specimen for the exhibition. In that case, I won't pay the remaining money." A dignified daimyo, speaking in a calm tone, uttered chilling words. "No problem. Please leave it to us." The leader of the Kusagakure village smiled. Bang! Suddenly, the office door was rudely pushed open, and a ninja from the grass village rushed in, startling the daimyo of the land of grass. But when he saw that it was a ninja, the daimyo breathed a sigh of relief. He frowned and grumbled, "You ninjas, why don't you understand manners? Don't you know to knock before entering?" "I'm sorry. It's my lack of discipline." After apologizing, the leader of the grass ninja village glared at the intruding ninja and scolded, "What's with all the panic? Leader, there's a situation," the Kusagakure ninja weakly said. He detailed everything he had seen and heard, which left the leader of the Kusagakure village stunned and his brows furrowed tighter. Konoha village, Hatake Kakashi? And a giant? The leader of the Kusagakure village also sensed something wrong. Why would the ninjas from Konoha village come to the land of grass? He had not received any diplomatic visit notice from Konoha village. That is to say, the ninjas from Konoha village sneaked into the land of grass, and the visitor was none other than the famous Hatake Kakashi. Konoha village jonin, who had a bounty of 30 million ryo in the black market. Oh, a giant. The daimyo of the land of grass didn't know who Hatake Kakashi was, but he was very interested in the giant mentioned by the ninja. His chubby face trembled, and he even had a smile on his face. "Is it some giant syndrome patient?" It's a giant over 6 meters tall," the ninja hurriedly answered. "Over 6 meters tall?" The daimyo was shocked, and his interest grew even stronger. "Isn't a giant's head over 6 meters tall bigger than 10 people's heads? Such a big head made into a specimen would surely astonish many people, wouldn't it?" He licked his lips, and there was no reverence for life on his face. All he had was an attitude that simply regarded life as an. "I'm going to assign you another ninja mission." The daimyo of the land of grass looked at the leader of the grass ninja village. I'll give you 5 million Ryo. I also want that giant's head. A perfectly intact giant's head. There must be no damage whatsoever. Daimyo-sama. Next to the giant is Hatake Kakashi from Leaf Village. He is a man who once had a bounty of 30 million Ryo. The leader of the Kusagakure village squinted. A mission reward of 5 million Ryo is a bit risky for our Kusagakure village. 10 million Ryo. The daimyo said, I'm not short of money. If you can get this done, I'll give the Kusagakure village 10 million Ryo, and an additional 5 million Ryo just for you, the leader. As for that something sure, I won't interfere or touch his bounty of 30 million Ryo. Oh right, the daimyo continued, next year is the time for the Kusagakure village to re-elect a new leader. I think you are very suitable to serve 2 terms as the leader of the Kusagakure village. What do you think? The leader of the Kusagakure village immediately stood up. My lord, I also think that I am very suitable to serve 2 terms as the leader of the Kusagakure village. His face was exceptionally bright with a smile. Even if the Kusagakure village exhausts all its strength, it will get that giant's head from Konoha village for my lord, he assured the daimyo. It was only after seeing off the lord of the land of grass that the smile on the face of the leader of the Kusagakure village gradually faded. He glanced at the ninja who had barged into his office. You didn't hear anything, understand? The leader of the Kusagakure village said expressionlessly. Understand? Puchi. A sharp kunai suddenly pierced through that ninja's throat. The leader of the Kusagakure village remained calm. I suddenly feel that only dead people won't talk too much. Ignoring the body that collapsed on the ground, the leader of the Kusagakure village stroked the money box given by the lord. He murmured, Hatake Kakashi, who is rumored to have copied thousands of ninjutsu and also has a rumored Sharingan. In fact, the moment he learned that Kakashi had appeared in the grass country, the leader of the Kusagakure village was a bit restless. As a small country caught in between, the Kusagakure village is considered to be the most shameless one. They would unscrupulously plagiarize other villages' ninja technique. In order to plagiarize ninja techniques, they would even assassinate ninjas from other countries and steal information from their bodies, thus obtaining foreign villages' ninjutsu. Those ninjas who happened to pass by the land of grass would be targeted by the Kusagakure village and would be put on a hit list of a ninja village, becoming a target for assassination. Gururarara. My body has returned to its normal state. What a relief. Whitebeard had already downed 8 jugs of strong liquor. He boisterously chuckled, exuding the unmistakable scent of alcohol from every pore of his being. Growing old and plagued by numerous hidden illnesses, Whitebeard rarely enjoyed a good drink, often scolded by his sons when he did. But now, he couldn't care less. Although he wasn't at his prime, a little drink couldn't hurt. After all, what kind of pirate who doesn't drink? Weapons, liquor, treasure, ships, and comrades. These are the life of a pirate. All of them are indispensable. Pouring the 9th jug of liquor into his mouth, Whitebeard grabbed a large platter off the table and started stuffing himself with the prepared meat. In the presence of an ordinary person, it's an immensely large plate, but in the presence of Whitebeard, it's just like an average one. This feeling of eating meat and drinking heavily, it's really nostalgic. In a drunken daze, Whitebeard seemed to hear all his foolish sons, all around him, having a feast, warmly welcoming Naruto to join the Whitebeard pirates. Gururarara. Whitebeard looked down at Naruto, who was eating heartily and reached out his finger to mess up Naruto's hair. Foolish son. When you grow up a few years, Dad will take you to get a tattoo of the Whitebeard pirates. Whitebeard laughed heartily. Tattoo? Naruto's mouth was stuffed full of meat, making his speech a bit unclear. The large cloak draped over Whitebeard was lifted, revealing the tattoo on his back. Naruto immediately looked excited. Do I also have to get the same tattoo on my back in the future? You can get it anywhere. Whitebeard laughed. Every crew member of the Whitebeard pirates has exactly the same tattoo. Naruto began to think. In the future, he will have the Whitebeard tattoo. Where should he get the symbol of the Whitebeard pirates? Kakashi, on the side, was reading Ika Ika Paradise book while eating a skewer of grilled meat and mumbling to himself. In a few years, Naruto will still be a child. Should he get a tattoo so young? He looked at Whitebeard, who was laughing non-stop. He sighed quietly. Never mind, he didn't expect a pirate to teach Naruto well. It would be a good thing if Naruto could feel family affection. However, weren't the 3 of them a bit too high profile in the Land of Grass? The ninjas of the Land of Grass wouldn't have noticed them already, would they? I hope nothing happens. Kakashi wasn't actually worried about Naruto, mainly because he was by Naruto's side, and so was Whitebeard. Who could touch Naruto? He was mainly worried that the ninjas of the Land of Grass wouldn't know better and provoke someone they shouldn't. In that case, it would be troublesome. This meal, Whitebeard and others ate from day to night. Naruto and Kakashi had long been unable to eat anymore, mainly because Whitebeard's appetite was incredibly large, and there weren't many chefs in the tavern. They worked themselves to death but couldn't make many dishes. It wasn't until all the chefs in the tavern were exhausted that Whitebeard finally stopped eating. Whitebeard said, "White-haired brat, pay the bill." "Kakashi, don't you and Naruto have a lot of money?" Kakashi had to fight for his wallet. "And besides, Lord Whitebeard, aren't you a pirate? The implication is, don't all pirates dine and dash?" "Fool, the Whitebeard pirates are not like those sea scum." Whitebeard flicked his finger at him. Bang! The pain made Kakashi's eyes bulge out. Kakashi held his forehead and protested hastily. Hey, I'm not Naruto," Whitebeard said with vacant eyes. "Have you ever seen me dine and dash?" Kakashi was about to say, "Every meal of yours is a dine and dash," but he suddenly froze. Phew! When Kakashi came to his senses, he also remembered that although Whitebeard never paid, someone else paid for him, so strictly speaking, it wasn't a free meal. So, Lord Whitebeard, the money you and Naruto snatched? Kakashi was a bit heartbroken. Whitebeard had a big meal. "That's the fun for me to establish the new Whitebeard pirate ship," Whitebeard said righteously. Kakashi. Although the Kusagakure village is located in the hinterland of the Land of Grass, the area of such a small country is only about the size of a few cities in the Land of Fire. The leader of the Kusagakure village decided to act now rather than wait. Today, they will carry out an assassination operation. The primary target is naturally the giant skull that the daimyo wants, followed by Hatake Kakashi, the copy ninja from Konohagakure village. These two assassination targets. At least one must be achieved. If Hatake Kakashi of Sharingan is nothing more than a name, then don't hesitate to get rid of him. In this way, through the information on Kakashi's body, they can indirectly master thousands of different ninja techniques. But if Kakashi is strong, so strong that their Kusagakure village's assassination team can't do anything about him, then decisively give up this tempting target. Just take away the giant's head. The leader of the Kusagakure village attaches great importance to this assassination operation. He arranged for 20 members of the Kusagakure village's Dark Department to participate. The fact that he almost emptied all the forces of the Dark Department shows how much he values this operation. You know, there are definitely more than 30 members in the Umbu of the Kusagakure village. Can't be compared with the 5 great nations at all. Right? The leader of the Kusagakure village said to a subordinate. Hatake Kakashi is not simple. Bring that woman along. If we can keep Hatake Kakashi from Konohagakure village, even if we completely drain her this time, it doesn't matter. After all, she still has a daughter. The leader of the Kusagakure village said. When her daughter grows up a year or two, she can also be used. Yes, Lord. Quick, the leader has an order. Umbu, gather quickly. Quick, gather quickly. Gather. The commotion in the Kusagakure village naturally attracted many people's attention. Among them were a special mother and daughter in the village. They live in a house monitored by ninjas from the Kusagakure village and have no way to escape from such a den. And even in the ninja world, redheads like them are quite rare. "Mommy, what's happening outside?" A red-haired little girl named Karen, who was about Naruto's age, looked out of the window with a scared face and said to her mother. The ninjas outside seemed to be very anxious. Then she noticed that her mother was changing her clothes. She was changing from comfortable home clothes into ninja combat clothes. "Mommy?" Karen opened her watery eyes wide. There was some confusion on her face. "Karen, maybe Mommy is needed by the village." Karen's mother is actually not that old. She is only in her 20s this year. Her fair face shows some signs of emaciation and thinness. Bang! Just then, 2 ninjas from the Grass Ninja Village brutally kicked open the door of their house. "Hey, woman!" The masked ninja from Kusagakure village said maliciously. "Let's go, don't dilly-dally. There's a situation where you're needed. And also, take off your Kusagakure ninja forehead protector. This time, we can't let anyone know our identity. Do you know what the mission is?" Karen's mother took a deep breath, instinctively shielding her daughter behind her. "May I ask, how many missions are there?" She was so thin and weak that it seemed a gust of wind could knock her over. 2 assassination missions. You'll know the rest when you get there. The Umbu from Kusagakure village didn't reveal much. His gaze passed over Karen's mother and landed on Karen. He clicked his tongue. "You've raised your daughter quite tenderly. Maybe she could be useful too?" "No. Karen is still young. Uzumaki Fushire hurriedly said. She won't be young for long. We didn't take your mother and daughter in to let you eat for free here. The Kusagakure Umbu dropped this sentence and left directly with Karen's mother. Only Karen was left in the large room. She stared blankly at her mother's retreating figure and those ill-intentioned Kusagakure Umbu. The Uzumaki clan's innate perception ability let her know that those masked ninjas were all bad people. But she couldn't do anything about it. I'm so useless. Late at night, in a rundown small town in the grass country, Naruto woke up in the middle of the night because he had another dream about that tailed beast. The latter was still bad-mouthing his old man Whitebeard, which made Naruto argue with it in the ceiling space. Then, he was awakened by anger. What an annoying stinky fox. Naruto couldn't help but mutter. He had accepted the fact that there was a monster inside him, but that didn't stop him from hating it. For Naruto, as long as his pops didn't discriminate or dislike him, even if there were 9 monsters inside him, he didn't care. Every time I dream of that stinky fox, it badmouths my pops and tries to trick me into tearing off that piece of paper. Naruto stuck out his tongue. Blah blah blah. I'm not some big idiot. Although Naruto wasn't quite sure what that piece of paper was, but he knew that the stinky fox meant no good. Oh no, I drank too much. Naruto's face turned awkward, and he quickly crawled out of his bed. He opened the door to his room, and went out to find a toilet. Whoa! Finally found it. After more than 2 minutes, he finally saw a building similar to a toilet. But just as he was about to push the door open, his face suddenly felt cold. Hush. It's me, Kakashi. Kakashi hurriedly covered Naruto's mouth to prevent him from making too much noise. As it turned out, when Naruto woke up, Kakashi also woke up, but Kakashi keenly noticed that something was wrong. The inn where they were temporarily staying was too quiet, so quiet that they couldn't hear anyone's footsteps at all. It was completely different from when they first moved in. As an Umbu Jounin from Konohagakure village, Kakashi immediately became alert and followed Naruto all the way until Naruto entered the toilet. Then he finally revealed himself. Naruto, listen. Kakashi lowered his voice and said, someone might be after our lives. I don't know if those people are targeting you or me. He slightly loosened his hand covering Naruto's mouth. Naruto widened his eyes. Uncle Kakashi, are we encountering enemies? I don't know. Kakashi shook his head. I hope it's not some enemy, but this idea might be too wishful. Then, Pops? Naruto was worried about Whitebeard. Don't worry. Whitebeard might have noticed something wrong even earlier than I did, Kakashi said. I found that he has a very special perception ability. In fact, what Kakashi said was indeed correct. At the time when his body suffering from hidden illnesses, Whitebeard's observation haki was sometimes effective and sometimes not. But after being treated by Tsunade and Shizun, Whitebeard found that his observation haki had recovered and reached a level where he could use it at will. Even a non-sensory type ninja like Kakashi could sense something was wrong. Not to mention Whitebeard, who has observation haki. At this moment, Whitebeard was resting outside. He couldn't squeeze into the small inns of the ninja world, so the innkeeper could only bring a lot of mattresses and piece together a large bed outside for Whitebeard to rest. Whitebeard was now lying on the pieced-together mattress, sleeping soundly, with his Murakumajiri at least several meters away from him. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A barely audible sound suddenly rang out, and on each tree not far away, several hidden figures stood on their own. One after another, Umbu from the Kusagakure village quietly appeared. They skillfully sealed off the entire inn, and their gaze fell on Whitebeard. Whitebeard's exaggerated body size made it hard for them to ignore him, especially since Whitebeard was also sleeping outside the inn. That made him even more eye-catching. Is this the giant that our leader mentioned? A Kusagakure Umbu licked his dry lip. He thought only he could hear his own muttering. Indeed, this is really a giant. This guy has such a thick neck, how many cuts would it take to cut off his head? And this giant seemed to have not noticed their movement. So this was just an ordinary big man, at most because of his large size. His strength was a little bit powerful, but under the assassination of so many Umbu, how much does greater strength matter? Being a ninja, it's all about tactics. One by one, the Umbu of the Kusagakure village silently exchanged gestures. In less than 10 seconds, they had decided on their next battle plan. Then, a group of Kusagakure Umbu took several kunai from their ninja tool bags. Each kunai revealed a faint green glow under the moonlight, obviously poisonous kunai. One of the Kusagakure Umbu suddenly made a move. Suddenly, the killing intent burst forth. No one would be so foolish as to alert their target when assassinating someone. Not a single Kusagakure Umbu made a sound. They decisively threw the kunai in their hands quickly. One after another, kunai flew out through the air. Got him. It seems this giant is just taller. This guy is not a ninja. Just as they were rejoicing, the next moment, their faces stiffened. The speed at which the kunai flew towards Whitebeard was as fast as the speed at which each kunai was deflected. Sparks erupted inconspicuously on Whitebeard's skin. It seemed like it was caused by the collision of the kunai with his skin. What? Does his body made of iron? The kunai couldn't break through at all. This was beyond their expectations. The skin on this giant's chest was clearly exposed. Why can't sharp weapons break through flesh and blood? Gurararara, a sudden laugh rang out like a death knell in each grass ninja Umbu's ear. Where did these little ninja brats come from? Did they chase me from Konoha? Whitebeard had already opened his eyes. He sat up as if every Kusagakurumbu on the scene couldn't escape his sight. So annoying. Little brats. Damn. I made a wrong judgment. Although their expressions were very ugly, they still unhesitatingly formed seals, using the Konohagakure ninja technique. Fire release. Great fireball technique. So many ninjas released the fire release technique at the same time. Even though these Kusagakurumbu were very weak, but they had the advantage of numbers. A bunch of great fireball techniques came crashing down, and half of the sky in the desolate town was illuminated by fire. Fire again? Can't they come up with any different tricks? Whitebeard punched out in disappointment. This punch didn't use armament haki, didn't use Conqueror's haki, and didn't use Devil Fruit ability. It was purely a powerful physical strength that blasted the air. The harsh sound, accompanied by a sonic boom, appeared. The invisible gale that was stirred up instantly drowned the raging fire, and even many of the Kusagakurumbu were blown away by the gale in their surprised expressions. They fell more than 10 meters away. What kind of ninjutsu is that? Their expressions were horrified. They didn't see Whitebeard forming seals at all. Just then, Whitebeard walked to one side, already wielding his Murakumajiri on the ground. A hint of a heroic smile appeared on his mouth, and he slashed out horizontally. The wind pressure rolled up by Murakumajiri was like a swift and precise attack. The speed was so fast that the Kusagakurumbu couldn't react at all. The so-called Kusagakurumbu, naturally, can't compare with Konohagakure's Umbu. Any chunin from Konohagakure's Umbu could be a jounin ninja in the Kusa's Umbu. If it were a jounin of Konohagakure's Umbu, they would definitely realize what they were attacked by. But the Kusagakurumbu didn't react at all. They just felt a breeze passing in front of them. Then their bodies were cut in half. A Kusagakurumbu only felt that he inexplicably lost his balance and fell down. When he wanted to land steadily, he found that his lower body was not under his control at all. He glanced out of the corner of his eye and was shocked to see. His lower body was still on the tree. The pain came instantly. Ah! He screamed and fell to the ground. His internal organs and whatnot were scattered all over the ground. Fear and pain made him scream while howling towards one place. Damn woman! You come over here! Come over here! Come over here and let me bite you! In the direction he was looking at, there was a red-haired woman trembling with fear, hiding behind a big tree. Bastard! You! If you don't let me bite you, your daughter is dead! The keyword daughter made the woman shiver all over her body. She could only bite her lip and hurriedly run out from behind the tree. Then she ran to that screaming Kusagakurumbu. She rolled up her sleeves and revealed her fair arm full of tooth marks. The Kusagakurumbu, who had only one breath left, bit down hard without hesitation and immediately bit through her skin. He was sucking hard on her blood inside. This made the already thin-faced woman look even paler. However, before he could suck a few more mouthfuls, a very heavy footstep next to him made his expression stiffen slightly, and his action paused. Little brat, as a man and warrior, don't threaten anyone's family. Whitebeard's expression had a hint of gloom. In front of the endless fear of the Kusagakurumbu, he lifted a foot and stomped down like stepping on a mouse. Poochie. Like stepping on a tomato, there was a large amount of red liquid splashing in all directions under his foot. Cracks were stomped out all over the ground. A deep pit was formed. Monster! Monster! The remaining Kusagakurumbu were lucky. They hadn't fallen to such a tragic death yet, but they watched their comrades die quickly. In almost an instant, less than 5 of the 20 Kusagakurumbu remained. Quick! Run! They knew what the consequences of deserting in the middle of a mission were, but they were even more clear about what would happen if they stayed here. Quickly go back and tell the leader. This is a giant who is countless times more terrifying than a Konohagakure Jonin. Unfortunately, it was too late. Whitebeard showed no mercy. He swung his sword back. The Kusagakurumbu only felt their backs as if they were hit by a rampaging elephant. Poof, they vomited blood from their mouths. The wind pressure shattered half of their bodies rolled up by the Murakumajiri, blood and broken flesh were scattered all over the ground. All the assassination, disguise, and escape techniques they learned were useless in the face of absolute power. They couldn't use them at all. Almost completely annihilated. The reason for adding the word almost is because in front of Whitebeard's feet, there was a young red-haired woman who was scared and fell on her butt, her face full of shock and fear. Whitebeard could see the dense toothmark scars on her arm. Removing those scars would be a lifelong challenge. "Kid, your hair reminds me of another kid." Whitebeard's gaze shifted to the woman's red hair, and a trace of reminiscence flashed in his eyes. "Pops, are you okay?" "Naruto." The voices of Naruto and Kakashi came from inside the inn. Naruto rushed out of the inn in a hurry, while Kakashi was twitching at the corner of his mouth, holding Naruto's torn clothes. He originally didn't want Naruto to come out. After all, Naruto is only 5 years old at the end of the day. It's not wartime now. If something happens, decades later, he doesn't know how he would explain to Minato-sensei and Kushina in heaven. Unexpectedly, 5-year-old Naruto was stronger than he thought. He tore his clothes directly. "Pops, Pops!" Naruto's voice stopped abruptly as soon as he rushed out of the inn. The situation in front of him was indeed a bit too visually shocking for him at this stage of age. There were blood stains and broken bodies everywhere. The strong smell of blood was very pungent. "It's creepy." Gulp. Naruto's throat squirmed. This was countless times more bloody than some scenes he had seen before. Is this the world of adults? Is this the world of ninjas? "I told you not to come out." Kakashi stood behind Naruto and sighed softly. Kakashi, who had participated in a ninja war once, had long been accustomed to and immune to such extremely bloody scenes. He looked at Whitebeard. His gaze was unconsciously attracted by a strange woman next to Whitebeard. That head of red hair made Kakashi's pupils shrink, and thousands of memories surged into his heart instantly. Kushina? A name slipped from Kakashi's mouth. His face was full of incredulity. Until his voice and Naruto's seemed to attract her attention. The red-haired woman turned her head in astonishment. The strange face didn't match Kushina at all, which woke Kakashi up from his memories. "Oh, it turns out it's not Kushina." Kakashi was a bit stunned, but a head of red hair is indeed hard to ignore. A survivor of the Uzumaki clan? Whitebeard-sama. Realizing the red-haired woman's complexity, Kakashi, who stepped forward, hurriedly said, "Please show mercy." This woman might have some connection with Naruto. In fact, Kakashi didn't need to ask for mercy. Whitebeard wouldn't harm this red-haired woman. It's not that Whitebeard wouldn't hurt women, but it's because Whitebeard clearly heard what the Kusagakure Umbu said to the red-haired woman. This is a woman whose family has been taken hostage, and she is threatened by Kusagakure village. This kind of despicable and shameless behavior, that is what Whitebeard despises the most. However, when Kakashi said related to Naruto, it made Whitebeard interested. "Oh, this red-haired brat is related to my stupid son?" "Yes," Kakashi said solemnly. "If I'm not mistaken, she should be from the Uzumaki clan. I didn't expect someone from the Uzumaki clan to appear in the land of grass." "Uzumaki clan? TSK. What is Uzumaki?" Whitebeard doesn't know what the Uzumaki clan is, but he knows that his stupid son is called Uzumaki Naruto. "She is related to me?" Naruto was a bit confused. How did a red-haired big sister, who suddenly appeared, have anything to do with him? I'm not from the Uzumaki clan." "What are you talking about? I don't understand at all." Uzumaki Fushi swallowed nervously. She realized that she was now at the mercy of others. Kakashi said, "Your nervousness has betrayed you." "Hey!" Naruto gritted his teeth and said, "Since you also have the same surname as me, Uzumaki, why did you attack my pops?" Uzumaki Fushi is Karen's mother's name. She was stunned by Naruto's question. She cast her gaze on Naruto. Are you also an Uzumaki? Why do you have blonde hair? Are you half?" Mainly because of Naruto's conspicuous blonde hair. "It's not like the Uzumaki clan members." She lowered her head and said, "I haven't attacked you guys. From beginning to end, I just stood behind the tree. They won't give me any ninja tools because in the eyes of those Umbu ninjas, I'm just a mobile medical blood bag." "Umbu ninja?" Kakashi glanced at the broken bodies on the ground. He didn't see any ninja forehead protectors on the bodies, nor did he see any special signs related to ninjas. "Which ninja village are they from?" Kakashi asked. "They're from Kusagakure village." Under the gaze of Whitebeard and Kakashi, Uzumaki Fushi felt an unprecedented pressure. She didn't want to reveal too much information, to avoid implicating her daughter. However, That deep-seated fear and the smell of blood in the air made her unable to control her inner instincts. So, Uzumaki Fushi had to reply with a somewhat bitter tone. They are all Umbu ninjas from Kusagakure village. Damn it. Why did that Kusagakure village attack my pops? Naruto was a bit angry. We didn't provoke them. We don't even know them, Uzumaki Fushi weakly said. On the way here, one of the Kusagakure Umbu mentioned that because Daimyo in Land of Grass wants Giant's head as his specimen collection, and because Hatake Kakashi that has mastered thousands of ninja technique. Once they can get these techniques from him, Kusagakure village can make rapid progress in its foundation and strength, so their leader launched an assassination operation. Gururara, head. Whitebeard couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. He could tell that this red-haired brat wasn't lying. He laughed out loud without caring. I didn't expect that coming to this place in grass country, there would be people who want my head, but are they underestimating me? A group of cats and dogs want to take my head? Kakashi, with dead fish eyes, expressed extreme helplessness. How did it get connected with Kakashi? Some of the actions of the Kusagakure village. I've heard a bit about them, Kakashi said speechlessly. I thought it was just a rumor, but they really did it. They were just passing through the Land of Grass. But the Kusagakure village targeted them, and they even wanted to kill Kakashi and steal the ninjutsu knowledge from him. This gave Kakashi a headache. Speaking of which, as a member of the Uzumaki clan, why would you stay in such an abnormal ninja village? Kakashi couldn't help but frown and ask. Where else in the entire ninja world can the Uzumaki clan go? The bitterness on Uzumaki Fushi's thin face intensified. Kakashi suggested. Isn't Konohagakure close to Uzushiogakure? I remember. The relationship between Uzushiogakure and Konohagakure is very good. If that relationship was useful, where was Konoha's support on the day Uzushiogakure was attacked and destroyed? Uzumaki Fushi has long been filled with darkness and despair in her life. She was full of death when she collapsed on the ground. Uzumaki Fushi continued. But that's also something from the older generation said. I was very young at that time. After that, I wandered around the ninja world for more than 10 years. During that time, I also had a child. After my child was born, I raised her while I came to the Kusagakure village. In the end, we were taken in by the Kusagakure village. You can hear a bit of regret in her tone. She didn't mind being in a den of evil herself. However, putting her daughter in a den of evil made Uzumaki Fushi particularly regretful, and she felt guilty for her daughter. All she could do was to live hard in the Kusagakure village. As long as she lived, her daughter wouldn't be treated as a blood bag. But looking at the current situation, living is also a luxury. Sister, what's wrong with your hand? Naruto noticed that Uzumaki Fushi's arm was covered with shocking bite marks. One of the bite marks was very eye-catching and is still bleeding to this day. Uzumaki Fushi stroked the scar on her arm. I heard that in addition to being able to use powerful sealing techniques, the Uzumaki clan also has a very special kind of recovery ability. Kakashi's dead fish eye carried a bit of gloominess. Those guys often use your blood to heal their wounds, right? Kakashi naturally referred to the Grass Ninja Village ninjas. Your child has also been used by them as a spare part, right? Uzumaki Fushi remained silent. In such circumstances, just as Uzumaki Fushi bit her lip tightly, she suddenly found that her arm was grabbed by a small hand. She looked up in astonishment. She found that the little boy with yellow hair had come to her side at some point. Sister, do you want to bite my hand? Naruto said seriously. I'm also an Uzumaki. If you drink some of my blood, maybe your scars will heal? It's bad for a girl to have so many scars on her body. Naruto was indignant and very angry. Those guys are too much. How can they bully a big sister like this? Uzumaki Fushi was stunned. She didn't expect that a strange little boy could show her so much kindness, especially since she had just followed a group of ninjas to deal with them. Her eyes turned red instantly. Tears gushed out. Seeing this, Kakashi's gloominess in his dead fish eyes gradually faded away, revealing a surprised look. He murmured to himself, "It seems that Naruto hasn't been taught wrongly by Whitebeard." Whitebeard. Maybe he teaches better than Third Hokage? Whitebeard suddenly said, "Stupid son, do you want to take care of this matter?" Naruto hesitated for less than 2 seconds. Pops, I want to take care of this matter. Those people are ninjas. How can they be like this? His voice is very childish, but it's decisive. Gurerarara! Whitebeard suddenly laughed heartily. Stupid son, what you said is not domineering at all. You should say, this matter will be handled by the Whitebeard pirates. Uzumaki Fushi was a bit dazed. She felt like she was dreaming, but the pain from her wound made her realize this was not a dream. She didn't expect that these people who killed 20 Kusagakurumbu actually wanted to stand up for her, a stranger. She was bewildered. Unbelievable. Especially that blonde-haired kid named Uzumaki Naruto. What a sunny child he is. In this situation, he would actually stand up for a stranger? He even wanted her to drink his blood to recover. Of course, Uzumaki Fushi politely declined Naruto's kindness. Actually, she was somewhat disoriented as she led the way ahead of Whitebeard and the rest. She couldn't fathom why she had abruptly turned into a traitor. After all, ever since the Kusagakur village took in her and her daughter, she naturally became a ninja of the Kusagakur village. Now, as a ninja of the Kusagakur village, she is leading a group of dangerous outsiders straight to the Kusagakur village. Is this an act of betrayal? Perhaps it's for Karen. Karen is too young. No matter what, even if it means risking her own life, she can't let Karen continue to stay in that den of evil. With these thoughts in mind, Uzumaki Fushi's heart became firm. She forcefully endured the weakness of her body, and continued to lead the way. Kakashi didn't know what to say anymore. His subconscious told him that running to another ninja village and wanting to attack that ninja village would definitely cause a very serious diplomatic incident. The key is that it even involves the daimyo of Land of Grass. What if Whitebeard is not satisfied with attacking just one ninja village and wants to attack a country's daimyo? Oh, that would be bad. But what can Kakashi do? What can he do in this situation? This is the decision made by Whitebeard and Naruto, father and son. He seems to have no say in this matter. Just go with the flow. Kakashi gave up persuasion and resistance. Anyway, if any serious diplomatic incident occurs, those who should worry about it in the end are a group of high-level officials in Konohagakure village. It has nothing to do with him. Just 2 adults, plus a 5-year-old minor, and a traitor from Kusagakur village, going against an entire ninja village. This sounds no different from suicide. But Kakashi knew very well that Whitebeard was a man who could even defeat the 3rd Hokage. This man is extraordinary. Late at night, 4 o'clock in the morning. Today so many Umbu ninjas left the village. I don't know what happened. It wouldn't be another war coming, would it? The ninjas guarding the gate of Kusagakur village were much poorer than those in Konohagakure village. The ninjas guarding Konohagakure village's gate are all 2 elite chunin. But those guarding the gate of Kusagakur village are just 2 genin. Among them, one Kusagakur genin worriedly said, "The great ninja war just ended not long ago. Surely another war isn't about to start." "Tisk," another genin quickly said, "Can you not say such unlucky things in the middle of the night? Besides, even if there really is a war coming, so what?" He snorted. "We are at least a country with a ninja village. Moreover, we also have that mother-daughter pair." As these words fell, 2 Kusagakur genin looked at each other, and both showed an unspoken bloodthirsty smile. There's movement. Suddenly, Kusagakur genin's pupils shrank. He suddenly heard a strange noise coming from not far away. Over there! Looking in the direction outside the village under the not-so-bright moonlight, they could see a large shadow approaching. The massive shadow seemed to be walking. With each movement, a dull footstep could be heard. Each one struck their hearts, causing the 2 of them to break out in a cold sweat. What is that? A giant bear? They quickly turned on the searchlight next to them. Using the twisted technology tree of the ninja world, they illuminated the area in front of the village gate with the dazzling light of the searchlight. Suddenly, the area in front was brightly lit. Giant, giant! When Whitebeard's tall form appeared, they all exclaimed in shock. In their line of sight, Whitebeard was bare-chested, and his abdomen was covered with muscular muscles. Behind him was a white cloak. In his hand was a huge naginata. In the dark, the sense of oppression was maxed out. Hold on. There are others. Among the 2 gatekeepers, one had sharper eyes. It's that woman. It's that red-haired woman. Damn it. He cursed with an ugly expression. That woman, could she have become a traitor? Quick, go and report to the leader. Tonight, the leader of the Kusagakur village was woken up from his sleep by his subordinate. He was a bit grumpy when he woke up and wanted to scold his subordinate, but he didn't expect to get a piece of shocking news. The giant targeted by daimyo, and Hatake Kakashi's, who he targeted, appeared outside the Kusagakur village. What they brought with them was Uzumaki Fushi, that woman. The pupils of the Kusagakur village leader shrank slightly. Giant, Hatake Kakashi, Uzumaki Fushi, and a blonde kid? Such a strange combination made the Kusagakur village leader realize that something big was going to happen tonight. Because he knew very well. In the first half of the night, he had just let the Umbu take Uzumaki Fushi, this blood-bag tool woman, to assassinate the giant and Hatake Kakashi. But at this moment, His subordinate told him that there was only Uzumaki Fushi among the Kusagakure ninjas he sent outside the village. What does this mean? The assassination operation is likely to have failed. 20 Kusagakure Umbu, not one survived. In the end, Uzumaki Fushi was the sole survivor. And this woman betrayed their Kusagakure village. Damn it! After thinking it through, the face of the Kusagakure village leader could be described as extremely ugly. He immediately ordered his subordinates. Immediately now, gather all the ninjas in the village. Then go and inform Daimyo, who is temporarily staying in Kusagakure village, to quickly take his servants to avoid disaster in the back mountain of Kusagakure village. Also, go to Hozuki Castle. The leader of Kusagakure village continued. Although that man has always claimed that Hozuki Castle is a neutral camp, he is after all from Kusagakure village. I don't believe that when a ninja village is attacked by foreign village ninjas, he will still be indifferent. By the way, make sure you capture Uzumaki Fushi's daughter for me. Don't let that little troublemaker escape. Yes, Lord. The Kusagakure ninja, who came to report on the situation, saw for the first time that their leader could also be so nervous. Wait. Have someone from the intelligence department send a radio telegram to Kanahagakure. Ask why Hitaki Kakashi was spotted near the Kusagakure village. Yes. The leader of Kusagakure village believes that if he takes the initiative to counterattack first, he might be able to repel one of the enemy's powerful forces. Soon, the entire Kusagakure village started moving like a rusty machine. One by one, ninjas who were sleeping were awakened. Although many ninjas in Kusagakure village thought it was absurd, but it seems that reality is right in front of them. A war seems to have come. In just one night, the Kusagakure village experienced 2 disturbances. The first disturbance was when almost all of the Umbu from the Kusagakure village went out, which is considered a small disturbance in a ninja village. The second disturbance is now, the village alarm was triggered, and the piercing alarm bell echoed throughout the Kusagakure village. Any ninja who has experienced war would feel extremely familiar with this kind of alarm. It could even be said to be PTSD. This is an alarm for foreign invasion. Someone is attacking the Kusagakure village at night. The civilians in the village also woke up. A group of civilians, although they didn't know exactly what happened, but their rational minds told them that if they wanted to survive, they should run to the refuge in the back mountain as soon as possible. Gururarara. What a small village. Whitebeard's observation haki swept over the entire Kusagakure village in the blink of an eye. He found that this village was only 1/10 the size of Kanahagakure village. Kanahagakure village was not very big to begin with. Unexpectedly, there are even smaller ninja villages in the ninja world. The alarm bell is so loud, but being discovered is within reason. If we weren't discovered, that would probably be a big problem. Kakashi helplessly opened one dead fish eye. He showed an expression of having nothing to live for. Logically speaking, if you want to retaliate against a ninja village, you should scout out some information about that ninja village first. It would be best to turn some ninjas inside, and let them respond from within the ninja village. In this way, you can sneak into the human village silently. But Kakashi found that Whitebeard didn't think so. Whitebeard has been walking on the road openly from beginning to end. As if there is no word sneak in his dictionary. There is no word loke either. So, they were discovered by Kusagakure village. Big sister, you don't have to be afraid. At this moment, Naruto, who was the youngest, was comforting Uzumaki Fu, who was in her 20s. My pops is a very powerful great pirate. We Whitebeard pirates will definitely teach these bad guys a lesson. In Naruto's mind, those ninjas in Grass Ninja Village, who bullied a mother and daughter like this are definitely a bunch of bad guys. And Uzumaki Fushi can only squeeze out a smile to respond to Naruto now. She looked at the tightly closed gate of Kusagakure village. Karen? Uzumaki Fushi clenched her fists tightly. She knew that there was no turning back once she drew her bow. Whether Karen could be rescued from the den of evil depends on whether the giant from Leaf Village can withstand an entire ninja village. She actually knew that her current thoughts were too naive and too fanciful. But other than that, she had no other way. Could it be that she had to watch her own daughter fall into the same desperate situation as herself? I'll go as bait. Uzumaki Fushi's lips turned white. She said firmly, when they put their attention on me, you guys can. Before she finished speaking, she was stunned. Because Whitebeard had already taken a step forward. He ignored Uzumaki Fushi. His big cloak fluttered in the night wind. Gururarara. Whitebeard laughed. Just opening a door, why does it need to be so troublesome? At this same time, The two genin guarding the gate of Kusagakure village immediately realized that something was wrong because they saw Whitebeard raising his big sword. Not good! The two genin gasped for breath. Their faces changed drastically. Like escaping for their lives, they jumped down from above the high wall. In that instant, Whitebeard's sword had already slashed out. The gates of Konohagakure couldn't stop Whitebeard's sword, let alone the not-so-large gate of the Kusagakure village. There was only a loud bang. The gate of the Kusagakure village collapsed with a crash. Ha ha ha! Whitebeard's hearty laughter echoed in the sky above the entire Kusagakure village. So it's you little ninjas in this village who want my head, huh? Swish, swish, swish. One after another, ninjas from the Kusagakure village appeared on top of the high wall. They were the ninjas who had received orders from the leader of the Kusagakure village. They looked at the collapsed ninja village gate and then at the tall and burly Whitebeard in front of them. They were shocked and very angry. Although they were just a small ninja village, they were still a ninja village. In the vast world of ninjas, countries with ninja villages are indeed rare. Under normal circumstances, especially in non-war periods, no one would dare to break into a ninja village forcibly, because that would mean being an enemy of all the ninjas in a ninja village, and it would also cause a very serious diplomatic incident. But tonight, this happened. Suddenly, a person walked out among a group of ninjas. He was a middle-aged man with a bit of beard on his chin. He was wearing the combat uniform of the Kusagakure village and was protected by a few Umbu members. It's the leader! A group of Kusagakure village ninjas exclaimed in surprise. This person was indeed the leader of the Kusagakure village. The leader of the Kusagakure village had a gloomy face. He originally wanted to create his own aura as a leader of a ninja village. But now, when his gloomy gaze met Whitebeard's sharp gaze in midair, his mind was suddenly shocked. His aura instantly lost its ground. There was no comparison at all. The leader of the Kusagakure village tried hard to stabilize his emotional fluctuations and glared at Whitebeard and Kakashi with gritted teeth. He shouted, "Giant and Konohagakure ninja, do you know that your actions are invading the Kusagakure village? In non-war periods, your Konohagakure village is making aggressive actions. You will face trial in the ninja world's military court." One after another big pots that couldn't be carried were buckled down. Kakashi's face was full of helplessness. He didn't want to come here either. But he had no choice. Kid. Calling a middle-aged man with a beard kid is no problem for Whitebeard at all. He grinned and laughed domineeringly. Are you stupid? It's not Konohagakure village that's invading you. Huh. The leader of the Kusagakure village was taken aback. What does giant mean? Gururarara. Whitebeard laughed loudly. The Whitebeard pirates are here to conquer your village. The moment his voice fell, Whitebeard, who was holding Murakumajiri with both hands, had already posed an attack stance. Also, at this moment, a strong sense of crisis enveloped the heart of the leader of the Kusagakure village. He didn't even have time to think about what kind of power Whitebeard pirates have. His survival instinct urged him to leave this place quickly. Bang! The ground under Whitebeard's feet shattered instantly. When he appeared again, he had already approached the high wall in front of the collapsed gate of the Kusagakure village. Beneath Whitebeard's incredible might, Murakumajiri, when swung, even caused its long hilt to bend. The huge Murakumajiri is pitch black, wrapped in armament haki. Majestic! No one can stop it. Gururarara. Remember, this is Whitebeard pirates. Konohagakure, there is a certain time difference between Land of Grass and Land of Fire. It is 4 o'clock in the morning in Land of Grass, which is exactly 2 o'clock in Land of Fire. The Konohagakure Intelligence Department seemed to have received some news. They exploded instantly. Among them, a Jounin ninja from Konohagakure Intelligence Department hurriedly took a translated telegram and rushed to Konohagakure Hospital in a hurry. He didn't care whether Third Hokage was asleep or not. He directly pushed open the door of the ward with one hand. He shouted in surprise, "Hokage-sama! Something bad has happened! Hokage-sama! There's a big problem!" A Jounin from the Konohagakure Intelligence Department just pushed open the door of the ward, only to see that the third Hokage was not asleep but was half sitting on a bed. He also saw a small ninja dog in the Hokage's arms. The ninja dog was actually speaking human language. That's how it is. This is what Kakashi asked me to bring back. More detailed stuff is in that scroll. I see. Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes revealed an unprecedentedly gloomy look, completely different from his usual kind image. The aura of a ruler only permeated at this time. Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't expect that. Just as he was about to recover, a ninja dog from Kakashi would bring such bad news. He originally thought that Whitebeard taking Naruto out of Konohagakure was already the limit. He didn't expect him to take Naruto out of the Land of Fire. This simply touched another bottom line of Konohagakure. What's more unexpected is that Whitebeard is such a pure pirate. He occupied 2 towns in the Land of Fire, and openly declared that from this moment on, those 2 towns are under the protection of the Whitebeard pirates. From now on, those 2 towns in the Land of Fire need to pay a protection fee to the Whitebeard pirates. What's the difference between this and conquering lands? What's the difference between this and starting a war? Does that damn pirate take Konohagakure into consideration? Does he take the daimyo and nobles of the Land of Fire into consideration? Audacious, brazen. Struggling to steady his fluctuating thoughts, Sarutobi Hiruzen glanced at the Jonin from the Konohagakure Intelligence Department and asked him, "What happened?" The Jonin from the Konohagakure Intelligence Department immediately handed over the translated telegram text to Sarutobi Hiruzen, who was half sitting on the bed, and added, "Hokage-sama, this is a telegram from Kusagakure." Kusagakure? Sarutobi Hiruzen's gloomy face suddenly froze. What is Kusagakure doing sending an urgent telegram in the middle of the night? He unfolded the paper and looked at it. His old face immediately became very colorful. The red, green, and blue face clearly showed his emotions. Is this how Kakashi watches over Whitebeard and Naruto? He actually invaded Kusagakure with Whitebeard? Sarutobi Hiruzen was dumbfounded. Wait, Whitebeard wants to invade a ninja village with Naruto. This is bad. If it were just Whitebeard it would be fine, but the problem is that Whitebeard brought along Hatake Kakashi and Uzumaki Naruto. The former is a Jonin from Konohagakure's Umbu. The latter is Konohagakure's Jinchuriki. In this case, will Kusagakure suspect that Konoha is behind this invasion? If word gets out, will the entire ninja world think that Konohagakure has ambitious intentions and wants to start the 4th Great Ninja War? The things Whitebeard did, does he want Konohagakure to take the blame? Whitebeard! Sarutobi Hiruzen almost couldn't catch his breath. He gritted his teeth and squeezed out this nickname from his mouth, wishing he could chew Whitebeard to pieces. However, he quickly realized, faced with such a major event that could likely trigger a war, the current Konohagakure really didn't know how to stop it. The Grass Country is indeed a neighboring country of the Land of Fire. The problem is, if they send people to the Land of Grass now, will they make it in time? Land of Grass Kusagakure Whitebeard, wielding the Murakumajiri, unleashed a powerful and fierce slash, and no one in the entire Kusagakure could stop it. The terrifying hurricane rolled up by Murakumajiri was unstoppable. In an instant, the entire front wall of the Kusagakure was shattered by Whitebeard's slash, and the unmatched impact swept all directions. The Kusagakure ninjas standing on it, under the condition of not being able to react at all, were hit by an unprecedented blow, their faces changed drastically, and they vomited a mouthful of crimson blood. A group of Kusagakure ninjas were blasted away. They fell all over the place like scattered flowers. The wind pressure from this fierce slash was more like a swordsman's strike, and a dazzling white light flashed in the sky above the Kusagakure. Swish! All buildings over 15 meters high in the Kusagakure were cut off. The entire ninja village seemed to have been shaved off. At first glance, it's incredibly flat. Bang! The hurricane blew away a Chunin from Kusagakure and fell heavily into a house in the village. He had already vomited a mouthful of old blood in midair, and now he couldn't help but vomit another mouthful of fresh blood. His whole body was in a terrible state. Monster, monster! When he struggled to get up, his face was already full of terrified expressions. The leader of Kusagakure was one of the few who were not blasted away. He hurriedly hid with a few Umbu members around him at a critical moment. He didn't expect that his bad premonition would come true. If he had hidden just 1 second later, there would definitely be big trouble. The leader of Kusagakure landed on the roof of a house in the village. The gusty wind blowing on his face made his skin tremble slightly. Within his field of vision, everything he saw was a mess. Gulp! The leader of Kusagakure heard the sound of swallowing saliva. It came from an Umbu member next to him. He didn't reprimand him because even he, as the leader of the Kusagakure, showed an expression of extreme horror. Gururarara! Whitebeard's loud voice full of vigor fell into every ninja's ears in Kusagakure. Little ninja brats, don't you really want my head? Undoubtedly, it's the most terrifying death signal. Under his fierce slash, scared an entire ninja village. You're the head of this ninja village, right? Whitebeard's disdainful gaze swept over the Kusagakure leader, causing the leader's hair to stand on end and cold sweat to seep from his forehead and back instantly. Whitebeard suddenly smiled, Since you want to take my head, let me see how much the strongest force in your broken village weighs. What? Is this giant coming for him? Wait a minute! The Kusagakure leader turned pale with fright and hurriedly shouted, "We have hostages here. Don't act rashly." He glared at the Umbu beside him and yelled anxiously, "Bring that red-haired brat over here. No, not just her. Bring all the underage kids in the village over here. Use those brats as hostages." A ninja village leader using the children of his own village as hostages to threaten invaders. This kind of operation is unheard of. It's simply breaking people's bottom-line cognition. But realizing what kind of monster is invading Kusagakure, the Kusagakure leader can't care about morality or immorality. Anyway, he has no morality to speak of. Hey, isn't that going too far? Kakashi narrowed his eyes. Using your own village's children as hostages to threaten foreign enemies. What's wrong with this village's thinking? Karen. Uzumaki Fushi immediately thought of her daughter. She had no idea that the grass ninja leader's morality was so low. Naruto's eyes widened, and his young mind was greatly shocked. Big bad guy! Naruto gritted his teeth. The Kusagakure leader sensed the impending disaster and couldn't care less. The crooked Umbu members of Kusagakure didn't think there was anything wrong with what the leader did. The thinking of this village is problematic. Not a single ninja is normal. Giant, if you dare to take one step forward, we will kill every kid in this village. The Kusagakure leader shouted with a pale face. Wait, why are you still daring to move forward? The Kusagakure leader's eyes widened. He admitted that he was panicked. Ninja brat, are you using the lives of your village comrades to threaten a pirate? You should know that even if one is a pirate, they still uphold the principles of the sea. You're worse than a pirate. Whitebeard's eyes narrowed slightly. His aura was like that of the king of hell. The air around him was twisting in waves, and a murderous intent permeated the entire Kusagakure. Do you think such a ridiculous threat can make me retreat half a step? I am a pirate. Suddenly, black arcs flashed around Whitebeard's body. The legendary conqueror's haki wrapped around. For the first time, it appeared in the ninja world. I am Whitebeard. Whitebeard leaped up to a height of several tens of meters. As his robust body fell, the Murakumajiri in his hand also slashed downwards. A large amount of black arcs flickered through the air. Like a falling meteor. The momentum was surging and towering. Quick! Protect me! Protect me! The intense sense of crisis and death made the Kusagakure leader scream in terror, his hands hurriedly forming seals. The few Umbu members around him also hurriedly took action. Suddenly, the Kusagakure leader and several Kusagakure Umbu simultaneously used ninjutsu. Earth release. Multiple earth wall encirclement. Thick semicircular earth walls rose from the left and right sides. Layer upon layer of earth walls began to close rapidly. With a bang, a mini mound appeared on the ground. The semicircular mound enveloped the Kusagakure leader and several Kusagakure Umbu, providing a defense comparable to steel. However, it was useless. The Murakumajiri wrapped in Conqueror's haki. This kind of overkill method represented Whitebeard's contempt for such people. This Kusagakure leader is a despicable and shameless person. Even pirates would look down on him. Boom boom boom. The blade of the Murakumajiri didn't even touch the semicircular mound. The Conqueror's haki wrapped around the blade had already touched it from a distance. The deafening roar was like a bomb exploding in one's ears. That semicircular mound was instantly crushed into dust. The unparalleled terrifying power made the Kusagakure leader and several Kusagakure Umbu inside show desperate expressions. Boom, boom, boom. Their flesh and blood bodies were like watermelons being crushed. All the Umbu members of Kusagakure had their bodies all exploded. The Kusagakure leader's body and expression were extremely twisted. His limbs and bones were exploding inch by inch. Spare me! Accompanied by a scream for mercy, he only managed to say one word before his twisted head suddenly exploded, turned into droplets of blood rain. But this has not ended. Whitebeard's blade wrapped in Conqueror's haki did not lose momentum. It fell on the ground beneath his feet. The earth shattered. The entire Kusagakure was undergoing violent tremors. Invisible shockwaves turned into surging hurricanes spreading outward. The devastating gusts of wind were comparable to an S-rank wind release ninjutsu. Houses couldn't stand for even a few seconds. The foundations of the houses were all uprooted. The Kusagakure ninjas, who had been swept away earlier and had barely managed to get up, were once again blown away by the powerful wave. One by one, the big trees were also uprooted. Several meters of soil were peeled off. The scene was like a purgatory. Not good. Outside the village, Kakashi narrowed his pupils, and he decisively formed a seal with both hands. Earth release. Earth-style wall. Chakra was quickly consumed. A huge earth wall carved with several dog heads rose from the ground in the blink of an eye, protecting him, Naruto, and Uzumaki Fushi. At the same time, the surging waves hit the earth wall, and the thick earth wall burst inch by inch. Kakashi was so scared that he released another earth wall, consuming some of his pitifully small amount of chakra. Only then did it barely hold up. The apocalyptic scene inside the entire Kusagakure made people wonder if such a large ninja village would disappear directly from the ninja world map under Whitebeard's strike. After a minute, the waves finally dissipated. Kakashi carefully poked half of his body out from behind the earth wall. He first looked at the two earth walls he had released. The first earth wall had been destroyed to the point where it couldn't be looked at directly. The second earth wall barely remained intact. It's just that the few dog heads carved on it were shattered. Kakashi's eyelids jumped wildly at the sight. If we were hit head-on by the aftershock of that wave, that feeling, I'm afraid, it's not inferior to being crushed by a mountain. Kakashi was quite apprehensive. He, as a ninja, was fine. Mainly, he was afraid that Minato-sensei's child would die here. He then turned his gaze to the Kusagakure in front of him. Kakashi was stunned. Uncle Kakashi, what happened? Naruto also weakly poked his head out. The commotion just now scared him so much that he didn't dare to come out from behind the earth wall. Only now, Naruto dared to crawl out from behind the earth wall with Kakashi. He also looked at the Kusagakure in front of him. Naruto's pair of azure eyes gradually widened, until they widened to an extreme. Is this Pop's power? When Naruto murmured this sentence, the strong shock in his tone was indescribable with words. Naruto, your father, seems to have almost destroyed a ninja village with just a simple slash, Kakashi said in a horrified tone. Because as they looked around, everything was in ruins. Most of the buildings in the grass ninja village were destroyed and turned into ruins, with 2/3 of the village area being leveled. A huge pit with a diameter of several hundred meters appeared on the ground in the village. As for how deep it was simply impossible to measure. Numerous cracks in the earth, centered around Whitebeard's slash, covered the entire grass ninja village. Unlike the cracks caused by the quake fruit, these cracks were straight. The largest crack was as wide as a river. The smallest crack was at least as wide as a finger. Similarly, it was difficult to measure the depth of the crack. It was known that if someone accidentally fell in, they might lose half their life. Even being smashed into a pulp was not impossible. If I'm not mistaken, Kakashi said, the leader of Kusagakure is probably in heaven now, right? In an instant, a ninja village leader was killed. This, unbelievable. The entire Kusagakure Umbu was almost wiped out, along with the death of the Kusagakure leader. The reason for saying almost is because the Kusagakure leader had previously sent an Umbu to capture all the children in the village to threaten the enemies invading the ninja village. Although such an operation is against heaven's will, it does have a lot of use if faced with enemies with high moral standards. But, when the last Umbu ninja of Kusagakure was preparing to go around capturing people, he was blown over by a gust of wind coming from behind. When he finally struggled to get up, he was suddenly horrified to find that he was enveloped by a shadow. He swallowed nervously in his embarrassment. He stiffly turned his head to look back. But before his head had turned halfway, he was shocked to find that he had been picked up by someone. Whitebeard's voice rang out behind him. Ninja brat, what do you want to do? The gloomy tone sounded like a question from the Lord of Hell, scaring this Kusagakure Umbu so much that he shivered all over and unconsciously felt like urinating. Drip, drip, I. The only Umbu member left in Kusagakure dropped his mask on the ground. He tried hard to squeeze out a smile, trying to make his face look less ugly. I want to take you to rescue the children in our village. Especially that red-haired girl. She is the most special child in our village. At this moment, he had already seen the devastated scene behind him. He had already been scared by Whitebeard, almost fainted again from fright. He realized that their leader was dead. Kusagakure was also gone. Uncle, can you let me out? Karen's little face was full of worry. She was currently in a basement in Kusagakure being watched over by a genin from Kusagakure. Shut up, stinky brat. The Kusagakure genin glared at Karen fiercely, saying anxiously, You want to get out, I want to get out too. The problem is, he can't get out. This genin from the Kusagakure didn't know what had just happened. He only heard a deafening roar. Then, the whole basement seemed about to collapse. The walls of the basement were full of cracks, avoiding being covered with dust and rubble, making people suspect that it would collapse in the next second. When the noise disappeared, this Kusagakure genin originally wanted to go out and see what was going on, but he found that the entrance to the basement was blocked. He had a bad feeling. Damn it! He cursed under his breath. Could it be that the building above collapsed and completely blocked the entrance? That would be terrible. His original task was to keep Uzumaki Fushi's daughter under control. As long as the leader needed her, he would take this red-haired brat to the leader. But now, even if the leader needs this red-haired brat, he can't take this brat out. After all, he can't get out himself. The Kusagakure genin felt a bit of pain on the back of his hand. He looked down and found that his hand had been scratched at some point. Was it scratched by some rubble just now? Hey, brat, come here. He squinted his eyes. With ill intent, he said, What are you dazed for? Come here quickly. Uncle, are you going to take me out? Karen was full of surprise. She was very worried about her mother. She didn't know what her mother had been taken to do. She just hoped that her mother was safe and sound. Karen, who lacked a sense of security, wanted to see her mother right now even more. Don't talk nonsense. When I tell you to come over, you come over. The Kusagakure ninja grabbed Karen's little hand. He directly tore Karen's sleeve. Under Karen's horrified gaze, he bit down without any hesitation. His teeth pierced through the tender skin of the child. Ah! It hurts! Karen cried out in pain with tears in her eyes. The Kusagakure ninja genin sucked hard a few times, and with a look of fear and tears on Karen's face, he let go with a face full of intoxication. Tisk! The corner of Kusagakure ninja's mouth still had Karen's bloodstains. He was savoring the special nature of the Uzumaki clan's blood. Then he looked down at the wound on the back of his hand. It had already disappeared. Indeed, it's amazing. He pushed Karen away, causing Karen to retreat continuously and fall to the ground after a few stumbles. Get lost, you little brat. For a freak like you, your blood is the most useful thing about you. Suddenly, more rubble and dust fell from above the basement. But this time, it was not due to destruction. It was more like someone was digging. Seeing this, the Kusagakure ninja was overjoyed, and he hurriedly shouted upwards. There are people here. There are people in the basement. Quickly save me. There's not much air left inside. Save me quickly. Just as he shouted these words, suddenly a large hole was broken above his head. But before he could be happy, this Kusagakure ninja was shocked to discover that the hole was not broken by any tool but by an outrageously large hand. Wait, what? He wanted to dodge quickly, but he couldn't dodge at all. That sudden large hand grabbed him, binding his hands and feet, making him unable to move for a moment. In extreme fear, he was pulled out, being rescued from a basement that was about to collapse. Logically speaking, he should be happy. But at this moment, he was even more terrified than in the basement. He saw a monster. It's a giant. You ninja in this village, whether you are Jonin, Chunin or Genin, you all make me sick. Whitebeard, with his incredibly powerful observation haki, could clearly know what happened in the basement. When he grabbed this Kusagakure ninja, his palm slowly exerted force. Wait a minute! Bang! The words abruptly stopped. The blood from the exploded body was blown away before it even touched Whitebeard's skin. Kusagakure ninja, what do you have to say? Whitebeard glanced at the trembling Kusagakure Umbu next to him. It was this Umbu who brought Whitebeard here. Sir, you did well in killing him. The Kusagakure Umbu was sweating profusely. He tried to squeeze out a humble smile. The ninja way of the Kusagakure is indeed too deformed. Every ninja inside deserves to be punished. Except for me. He quickly added. But I am loyal to you, sir. With just one word from you, I can become your most loyal dog. Being a dog for the Whitebeard pirates is my honor. He had previously known at the high wall of Kusagakure the giant before him claimed to be from the Whitebeard pirates. Although he didn't know what kind of force this was, but it doesn't prevent his survival instinct from being full. Sir, please wait, I will help you go down and bring up Uzumaki Fushi's daughter. A dignified Umbu, in order to survive, has been humbled to this point. He hurriedly drilled into the basement. When he saw Karen curled up in the corner trembling, with tears in her eyes, he was immediately scared, and his legs went soft. Little girl, don't be afraid. The villain who hurt you just now has been defeated. The Kusagakure Umbu tried hard not to scare Karen, because he was afraid that his fate would be the same as that of the genin just now. You come over here. He had a flash of inspiration. Your mother, she has returned to Kusagakure. Karen, who was curled up in the corner with fear in her eyes, immediately raised her little head. Mom is back. Karen hurriedly stood up, but her little leg hurt. She almost fell down again, but she still held on with her willpower. Soon, with the help of the Kuzugakurambu, she came up. But Karen found out that she had been deceived. There was no mother in front of her, only a pair of big shoes, which made her very disappointed. She looked up in confusion and disappointment. For being deceived by others, she seemed to have gotten used to it as a young child. Until she saw Whitebeard's body. Her face was full of shock. Cough. Karen, it was this gentleman who saved you. The Kuzugakurambu immediately said. The person who defeated the villain who hurt you is this gentleman. Karen's big watery eyes widened. You saved me? Whitebeard's huge figure seemed to be dyed with a layer of holy light in Karen's dazed eyes, making her eyes twinkle slightly. Red hair again and bitten mark in her hand. Whitebeard raised an eyebrow. Little girl, are you the daughter of that woman named Uzumaki? This sentence made Karen's shocked and disappointed little eyes instantly reignite hope. My mother is Uzumaki Fushi. She said her mother's name. Her obsession with family affection offset her fear of the giant. She anxiously asked, Grandpa, do you know where my mom is? Grandpa? Whitebeard was taken aback and then laughed heartily. Gurerarara. Little girl, it's not good to call me Grandpa. Looking at the timid Karen, Whitebeard made a light joke. Little girl, call me Pops and I'll take you to find your mother. How about that? Gurerarara. Karen was confused and understood, but she desperately wanted to know about her mother's safety. But, Pops? Oh my god, what's going on with this little devil from the Uzumaki clan? Can't she see that this giant gentleman was just joking? She actually agreed? It's over. By doing so, this little devil wouldn't anger the giant, right? Could this potentially impact me as well? Karen's words scared the Kuzugakurambu so much that his lips were trembling. He kept blinking, giving Karen secret signals. Unfortunately, he overestimated a child's ability to read faces. Karen didn't notice him at all. Pops. I called you Pops, can you take me to see my mom? Karen pleaded with a small face. The Kuzugakurambu quickly cast his gaze on Whitebeard's face. He was shocked to find that the smile on Whitebeard's face gradually faded. Such a change in expression made him shudder. Gururara, however, Whitebeard laughed even more heartily, happier, and more heroic in the next moment. Naruto, that stupid son, hesitated for quite a while. Kakashi, that white-haired brat, even refused me more than a dozen times, each time with a different reason. Unexpectedly, you little brat are so decisive. Whitebeard picked her up under Karen's terrified expression. But Karen's terrified expression quickly turned into astonishment. Because Whitebeard didn't do anything to her. Instead, he put her petite body on his shoulder and let her sit on his sturdy shoulder. Little brat. In the Whitebeard Pirates, once you shout Pops, you can't regret it. Whitebeard grinned and said, I've heard your name from your mother. Karen, right? Gururarara. From today on, you are my first daughter in the ninja world. Karen, the Pops you just called means father. Gururarara. Pops. Father. Karen's little face was stunned. Her little brain didn't turn around for a moment. I am going to have a father? She was stunned. Her small brain overload. Does your arm still hurt? Whitebeard turned his head and asked Karen. Karen nodded her head. Being bitten through the skin and flesh by teeth. For a child not crying out loud is already much stronger than her peers. Brat, do you know medical ninjutsu? Whitebeard's gaze glanced at the dumbfounded Kuzugakurambu. No, not very proficient. The Kuzugakurambu was scared by Whitebeard's eyes and immediately changed his words. But I can try. The medical ninjutsu of this Kuzugakurambu is indeed terrible. He had exhausted all his strength and was sweating profusely. As a result, he could only heal Karen's arm wound, but he couldn't eliminate the scar after healing her. Karen looked at her still faintly painful wound, and then she looked at the concern on Whitebeard's face. For some reason scenes of her and her mother being bullied by the ninjas in the Kuzugaku flashed through her mind. During the time she grew up in Kuzugaku, apart from her mother who cared for her, no one else had ever cared for her so much. Even if Whitebeard just asked how her wound felt, a warm current surged in Karen's heart. She actually lacks love and care. Otherwise, in the future, she wouldn't suddenly be devoted to a certain person because of an accidental life-saving favor. Whitebeard saved her. Whitebeard defeated the bad guy in her heart. Whitebeard could take her to see her mother. Whitebeard cared about the injury on her arm. These little things in the eyes of outsiders. In Karen's world, they are all big deals, Pops. Karen sincerely said, Thank you. My mother once said that she wanted me to be a person who knows how to be grateful. In the future, if you get hurt, you can directly bite me so that you can recover. Oh. Karen had just finished saying a sentence of gratitude that seemed normal to her. She covered her head with both hands and cried out in pain. It was Whitebeard who gave her a flick of his finger. The sense of pain and the incomprehension of being wronged made Karen's eyes teary. She looked at Whitebeard quite puzzledly. Fool. Whitebeard said, "This is your body. No one in the ninja world has the right to use your body for healing. Your body should not be so abused." Huh. Karen weakly said, "But the ninjas in the village treat my mother like this, right? My blood is exactly the same as my mother's, and it can also cure diseases. Karen, do you like this?" Whitebeard put away his reprimand and asked seriously. Karen was taken aback. The faintly painful wound on her forearm made her shiver. "I don't like it." She sniffed hard, her eyes were a little red, and she was very wronged. "But if I don't do this, the village will abandon me and my mother. Since you called me Pops, then from today on," Whitebeard said, "no one can use your body for healing. No one can force your will. From now on, this village is no longer your home. Your new home in the future will be the Whitebeard Pirates. I guarantee." These words with the name of Whitebeard. Whitebeard's lofty spirit directly rushed into the sky. Every word he said fell into Karen's ears and was deafening. Children in the ninja world are generally precocious. Even if Karen is not very old, she can still understand what Whitebeard means by these words. The innate Kagura mind's eye. It also allows Karen to perceive that there is no lie in Whitebeard's breath. Everything he said, they are all true. In an instant, Karen's eyes could no longer hold back the tears. Her little face was wet with the hot tears that flowed out. She had never felt such warmth in her heart before. This was clearly her first encounter with Whitebeard. She had only timidly called him Pops. Yet he gave her indescribable care. Pop, father, new home, family. Karen had no idea where this impulse came from. All she knew was that she desperately wanted to shout out the two words she most wanted to say. So she shouted out, "Pops," and added a sentence. Thank you. Gurerarara." Whitebeard's serious face immediately relaxed, turning into a very cheerful and heroic laugh. "Silly daughter. Don't stutter when you speak. Louder. Say it again." Karen took a deep breath, her little face flushed, and she shouted with all her might. "Pops, thank you. Gurerarara." This scene of recognizing a daughter and a father left the Kusagakure Umbu next to them stunned. So, pleasing this giant is so simple? If he calls him Pops, can I get a chance? But somehow, he felt that if he dared to shout out these two words, he would definitely be beaten to death. Meanwhile, on the other side, hiss. "My fingers." A Kusagakure Chunin who had luckily survived took a sharp breath. He found that he had lost 3 fingers on his right hand and his abdomen was pierced by a stick. The pain from his internal organs made him break out in a cold sweat, soaking his back. The blood was flowing out like a broken wine barrel. The feeling of blood loss made him feel dizzy, as if he was suffering from heatstroke. The pain kept him awake. It was unbearable. He hurriedly tried to use chakra to temporarily stop the bleeding. "It hurts. Damn giant." The pain of losing fingers made him curse out loud. "And that damn traitor, our Kusagakure village kindly took in her and her daughter, and she actually betrayed Kusagakure village." Just as he was struggling to get up with his injured hand, suddenly he heard a voice. "Don't you dare speak ill of Pops." The voice sounded very childish, like a little devil's voice. The Kusagakure Chunin turned around in astonishment. He saw a blonde little devil, who had appeared not far behind him at some point. That little devil looked familiar. Wait, the Grass Ninja Village Chunin suddenly widened his eyes. He finally remembered and muttered in shock. "It's that blonde little devil next to the giant. If this blonde little devil is here, could it be that the giant is also nearby?" As soon as this thought came up, it scared him so much that his hair stood on end. He couldn't help but look around, but found no giants around, only this blonde little devil. This blonde brat. Did he get lost? "You should apologize to Pops." Naruto puffed up his face angrily. "It was you guys from the Kusagakure village who started it, and now you're still bad-mouthing Pops. Brat." The intense pain in his palm made the Kusagakure Chunin extremely irritable, his gaze fixed on Naruto. A cruel smile even crept up on his face despite the pain. "You showed up just in time, perfect to be used as a hostage." That way, he could safely escape from the Kusagakure village, to avoid ending up like the leader. His other intact palm had already drawn a kunai, and with a swift step under his feet, he appeared in front of Naruto almost in the blink of an eye. His kunai was about to be placed on Naruto's neck. However, an unexpected scene happened before his eyes. This blonde brat actually reacted. Yes, the moment the Kusagakure Chunin disappeared, Naruto felt a darkness before his eyes, and suddenly there was an extra figure in front of him. Naruto was so startled that he quickly leaned back. His steps kept retreating. This was just an instinctive action of the body, but it just so happened to create a distance of several meters between him and the Kyuzugaku Chunin, which left the other party stunned. Tisk! The Kyuzugaku Chunin spat out a mouthful of blood foam. It seems that even a brat is not a simple character. But after all, it's just a brat. Darn it. So you're also a big bad guy. Naruto also held a kunai, which he had picked up from the ground earlier. Brat, aren't your hands shaking holding that iron kunai? The Kyuzugaku Chunin sneered. The kunai is a bit heavy. He unabashedly released the killing intent on his body. This made Naruto unconsciously swallow a mouthful of saliva. A Chunin who has killed many people releasing killing intent in front of a child. It can definitely bring fear to this child. Naruto was the same, he was only 5 years old. His hand holding the kunai was trembling a bit, not because the kunai was heavy, but because of an instinctive fear in his heart. No! Naruto suddenly gritted his teeth, and his bewildered and frightened little face was forcibly swept into the corner. I am Whitebeard's son. I am also a member of the Whitebeard Pirates. Pops once said that when I grow up, I will be the captain of the new Whitebeard Pirates first team. Naruto suddenly bit his own tongue tip. The pain made him much more awake. I can't be afraid. Naruto, with blood in his mouth, glared at the Chunin, and his small body exuded a bit of killing intent. He couldn't lose face for the Whitebeard Pirates, nor could he lose face for Daddy. If he was afraid of even a ninja, what kind of Hokage would he be? What kind of captain of the Whitebeard Pirates first team would he be? You're quite impressive. The Kyuzugaku Chunin was secretly shocked, but said, but after all, you're just a little devil. You should be quite important to that giant, right? He suddenly had an idea. If I capture this little devil, I can use him to enslave that giant. In this way, that giant can become my fighting slave. As he said this, he suddenly felt a pain in his abdomen. The pain made him break out in a cold sweat and couldn't help cursing. Damn it, that shit-like giant. Don't insult my pops. The small body erupted with speed beyond its age. Naruto's month-long overload suicide weight training showed its effect at this moment. Naruto clenched the kunai he had picked up. Without knowing any techniques, he directly charged at the Kyuzugaku Chunin, like an enraged piglet. What? The Kyuzugaku Chunin was suddenly shocked, but in the next instant, he showed killing intent. Just as he was about to make a move with his hand, he suddenly found that his hand was controlled by someone. He hurriedly turned his head to look. He was horrified. Hataki Kakashi? Kakashi grabbed the man's wrist. A dead fish eye glanced at him. How can a dignified ninja kill a child? Kakashi's calm words just fell. Hoochie. The Kyuzugaku Chunin's eyes widened instantly, his pupils trembling. He slowly looked down at his abdomen. Then, Naruto, who was rushing towards him, had already run to his front, and the kunai in Naruto's hands was even thrust into his body. Naruto didn't expect it to be like this. He simply didn't want the other party to speak ill of his pop. Every time the other party said something negative about Pops, his anger would intensify. Warm blood had already soaked Naruto's hands. The feeling of a kunai piercing into a human body is no different from slaughtering a pig. It went in with a plop. Naruto! Kakashi stopped the Kyuzugaku Chunin, but did not stop Naruto. This is the world outside of Konoha. He looked at Naruto and said, if you can't stand this feeling, you should go back to Konoha. Kakashi's words stimulated Naruto. Naruto was about to let go of his hand, but suddenly he gripped the kunai tightly again and pushed the kunai deeper into the body with force, until the kunai was completely gone. Naruto, who was only 5 years old, gritted his teeth and said, I must follow Pops. I also have such a resolve. This is my ninja way as Uzumaki Naruto. Heh. Blood kept gushing out of the Kyuzugaku Chunin's mouth. His face was full of despair and incredulity. A headache? It seems like I unintentionally made your will even stronger. Under Kakashi's mask, he revealed a smile that only he himself could know. He himself was a bit unclear whether he did it on purpose or accidentally. But kids shouldn't kill people. It will leave you with psychological shadows. Wait until you grow up a little bit. Kakashi directly twisted off the neck of this Kyuzugaku Chunin, finishing the other party's life. The turmoil in the Kyuzugaku village came quickly and left just as quickly. Some of the villagers didn't even know what had happened. All they knew was that there were 2 waves of disturbances in the village, which scared them into running to the back mountain for refuge. Then, there was a thunderous rumble, followed by what seemed like someone roaring in anger. Finally, the entire ground was shaking violently. Those hiding in the back mountain watched as a large number of buildings in the Kusagakure village collapsed. They could also see billowing dust rising into the sky. Even hiding in the back mountain, they were still blinded by the dust. The whole scene was like the end of the world. It wasn't until the commotion in the Kusagakure village finally disappeared that a group of terrified civilians dared to speak up. Gulp. Someone swallowed nervously, looking at the situation in the Kusagakure village, and murmured in horror, "Did my house collapse? What on earth happened? Is it war? It shouldn't be, right? If it were a war, how could it disappear so quickly? It looks more like something exploded. What on earth are those ninjas doing? They've knocked down so many houses. Where are we supposed to live?" "Shush. You can't let the ninjas in the village hear that. Be careful or they'll expel you from the village. There should still be people who haven't retreated to the back mountain, right?" The surrounding commotion made the daimyo of the land of grass quite irritable. He and his retainers were also hiding on the back mountain of Kusagakure village. This godforsaken place had no air conditioning or fans. The heat made him constantly fan himself with his round fan. After fanning until his hand was sore, he finally couldn't stand it anymore. Let's go down and take a look," the daimyo of the land of grass said to his retainers behind him. "There's no movement down there now. I guess the invaders have been dealt with. I don't want to stay in this godforsaken place for a moment longer." "Daimyo-sama, be careful," a retainer dressed as a samurai hurriedly said. "What if? Are you challenging my words?" The daimyo glanced at him coldly. No. The retainer was sweating profusely. The daimyo covered his eyes with his round fan and sighed regretfully. "Kill him. I don't want disobedient people. Kill him cleanly. I can't stand two bloody scenes." "Wait, daimyo-sama. It's a misunderstanding. I'm very loyal to you." "Ah." "Puchi." Sigh, the daimyo of the land of grass showed pity. "It's a pity you're too ugly to be included in my specimen collection. You've missed an opportunity to make a name for yourself nationwide. Let's go, carry me down," he said to his other retainers. "Yes, daimyo-sama." The actions of the daimyo of the land of grass scared his remaining retainers and a group of civilians hiding in the back mountain quite a bit. The whole back mountain became quiet. The bodies on the ground were still bleeding. It was creepy. A group of terrified civilians, who dared not make a sound, could only watch as two retainers struggled to carry down the daimyo's several hundred kg body from the mountain. It didn't take long. The daimyo of the land of grass had people put him down because they had already come down from the mountain. He complained, "This mountain road is too narrow, my carriage can't be lifted up, it's uncomfortable to walk." "Lord Daimyo, it's our lack of skill in carrying people." The retainers had no choice but to hurriedly apologize. The daimyo of the land of grass ignored them. He held a round fan in his hand and looked ahead. His brows furrowed deeply. "Has the place where I'm temporarily staying also collapsed? What are those ninjas doing? Don't they know to send someone to protect the place where I live? What's with those brats?" The daimyo of the land of grass looked ahead again at some brats from the Kusagakure village. A group of ragged Kusagakure children. He didn't like what he saw. "Lord Daimyo, those should be children who didn't have time to evacuate. They run slower than adults after all, but they seem to have luckily survived that explosion." The daimyo of the land of grass's retainers quickly explained for his lord. "They're too ugly. They're dressed too ugly." After the daimyo commented with a frown, he gently fanned his fan as if to fan away a non-existent smell later. "Go and talk to the leader of the Kusagakure village and ask him to sell these ugly brats in the village." His calm tone carried a hint of disdain. Selling these brats can also subsidize some funds for this village. After all, hasn't he always been doing this? Okay. A retainer swallowed nervously. "We will mention this matter to the leader of the Kusagakure village. The next time Lord Daimyo comes here, you will definitely not see these ugly brats." Just as the daimyo of the land of grass was walking, as he passed by that group of children, his obese body suddenly stopped. "I've changed my mind. Who made me the daimyo of the land grass born with a compassionate heart?" "Lord Daimyo, what do you mean?" The retainer couldn't help but ask weakly. A look of interest appeared on the daimyo's fat-filled face. "If we can't hold a giant skull specimen exhibition, we can also hold a child specimen exhibition. Karen? Karen, where are you?" Just then, an untimely voice came from afar. Everyone looked in the direction of the sound. They could see a woman dressed in combat gear with bright red long hair, looking for someone in the devastated ninja village. This person. It was Uzumaki Fushi. Uzumaki Fushi, whose blood was completely suckeed by the village of Kusagakure, was too weak to open her Kagura mind eye, could only call out for her daughter by voice. The daimyo of the land of grass suddenly brightened up. What a rare hair color, it doesn't look like it was dyed afterwards. He was itching to move, drooling with desire. If this head were made into a specimen, it would certainly make a fine collection. He quickly ordered, "Quick, go and catch her. Don't let her get away." Uzumaki Fushi didn't expect that in the process of looking for her daughter, she would encounter a group of strange people. Their attire didn't resemble ninjas, nor did they look like people from the Kusagakure village. They looked more like old-fashioned samurai. She noticed that the group was heading straight for her, and they had surrounded her. "Who are you?" Seeing the samurai sword in their hands, Uzumaki Fushi instinctively wanted to pull out her kunai. But she suddenly remembered that she was just a blood bag tool. She had no ninja tools on her. "Daimyo of the Landgrass specifically want your head. It's just your bad luck that you happen to have red hair," a burly retainer holding a samurai sword said with a sneer on his face. "Damn it!" Uzumaki Fushi looked very anxious. She knew that she was in a weak state right now. She could handle 2 or 3 people barehanded, but there were more than a dozen people in this group. "Pop, Mom's scent is over here. I see her. It's Mom. Mom!" Just then, a crisp and pleasant voice came from behind Uzumaki Fushi. The childish voice was filled with joy. Uzumaki Fushi quickly turned around. Karen. She saw her daughter, and her daughter was actually sitting on Whitebeard's shoulder, waving at her. "Gururarara. I was wondering why I always smell something familiar yet strange in this broken village." A hearty voice followed. Whitebeard glanced at the eye-catching obese figure and grinned. "I think I heard someone call you Daimyo. So you're the Daimyo of the Land of Grass, huh? Brat? So it's you who wants my head, huh?" Such a simple question, but under Whitebeard's overbearing aura, the atmosphere suddenly becomes tense. The Daimyo of the Land of Grass's eyes widen in disbelief. He looks up at Whitebeard dumbfounded. Whitebeard's imposing physique, combined with the aura of dominance he emits, makes it feel as if a huge rock is pressing down on one's heart. The scene becomes eerily silent. Giant. Gulp. The Daimyo of the Land of Grass takes a nervous gulp. All his aristocratic composure is gone. A growing sense of fear urges him to retreat. As he moves back, he steps on several of his retainers' feet, and the weight of hundreds of kg is not a joke. The retainers gasp in pain but dare not utter a word. Sweat drips down the daimyo's chubby face, making him look as if he's been drenched in rain. He fanned himself with a round fan, attempting to cool himself down with the breeze it created. Only when he's about 10 meters away from Whitebeard does he feel somewhat safe. What are those ninjas doing? I pay them almost 100 million ryo in military expenses every year, and this is how they defend against enemies? They should go to the military court. In his panic, the daimyo curses his useless ninja troops. The retainers surrounding the Uzumaki Fushi also seem extremely tense. They glance at each other, unsure of what to do next. Suddenly, the daimyo of the Land of Grass saw someone dressed as an Umbu ninja. Seeing him as his savior, he commands, "You. Yes, you. Stand by my side." He's well aware of the capabilities of his retainers. While they can handle ordinary people, facing a giant who broke into the Kusagakure village is another story. Thus, he urgently needs a ninja to protect him. But he realizes the ninja ignored him. Or, in other words, this Umbu ninja simply didn't dare to interact with the daimyo. The Umbu ninja knows where the power lies in this situation. Compared to his own life, what importance does the daimyo hold? "My apologies, Lord Daimyo." The Umbu ninja grits his teeth, drawing a line on his forehead protector. "I am no longer a Kusagakure ninja. I no longer serve the Kusagakure village." He quickly distances himself from the village. Realizing the way of the world, he says, "There's only one son in my world, and that's Whitebeard." The daimyo is stunned. "You. Gururara, so you no longer want my head?" I. The daimyo's palms are sweaty. His voice trembles with fear. "I am the daimyo of the Land of Grass. Yes, that's right. I am the daimyo." But it seems he regains some confidence. His title seems to give him some courage. His brain works overtime, trying to find a solution. He keeps fanning himself to alleviate the tension and pressure. Gradually, his voice becomes steadier. He even attempts a more conciliatory tone. "Perhaps there was a misunderstanding between us. But it's clear now. If I'm not mistaken, you've already killed the leader of the Kusagakure village." Whitebeard remains silent, just staring at him. The pressure that the daimyo had barely managed to dissipate became heavy again. His tone quickened. "Ninjas can't kill the daimyo because the daimyo controls the economic lifeline of the country. In the ninja world, the daimyo is more important than the ninja village. Because I can give money to the ninja village, I can give a lot of money to the ninja village. If you want to take over the Kusagakure village and become the new leader of the Kusagakure village, I will fully support you. From then on, I will give 200 million to the Kusagakure village every year. I will give you 200 million every year to develop the Kusagakure village. At the same time, I won't interfere with anything in the ninja village. What do you think? The frequency of the daimyo of the land grass's fan waving became faster and faster. His hard-pressed nervousness once again surfaced. Facing a man like Whitebeard, a calm mindset simply couldn't be maintained. He suddenly realized. The look in Whitebeard's eyes as he looked at him was like looking at an idiot. The next moment, Whitebeard's words broke the daimyo's psychological defense. Noble brat, when you're dead, isn't everything you have mine? Daimyo. He was completely panicked. Giant. If you dare to touch Lord Daimyo, you will become a target for everyone in the ninja world. A retainer of the daimyo of the Land of Grass mustered up courage and shouted, "The Land of Grass will issue a bounty for you in the ninja world. All ninjas in the entire ninja world will hunt you down and see you as an enemy. Also, your family and loved ones will also be bountied by the Land of Grass. Your family and loved ones will be hunted down by the entire ninja world. If you dare to lay a hand on Lord Daimyo, it won't just be you who are implicated, but your entire family." Not only threatening him with a bounty, but also threatening him with his family? Whitebeard flashed a hint of gloom. Even if he was a pirate full of pride, there was one line that absolutely couldn't be crossed by others. Whitebeard's bottom line is family. Whether it's attacking his family or plotting against his family or threatening him with his family, they would all be seen by Whitebeard as his greatest enemy in this life. These people in front of him stepped right on a landmine. Gururarara. Little brats, those who dare to threaten me have almost been wiped out on the seas. Whitebeard's laughter carried a hint of anger and killing intent. Karen, close your eyes, Whitebeard said to Karen. Huh? Oh. Karen quickly closed her eyes. Perhaps feeling that closing her eyes wasn't safe enough, she covered her eyes with both small hands. It was also at the moment she closed her eyes. Whitebeard suddenly erupted. He switched from holding his sword with one hand to holding it with both hands. Under the horrified gaze of daimyo of the Land of Grass and all other retainers, Whitebeard didn't hesitate and slashed horizontally. A noble in the ninja world? A daimyo in the ninja world? A feudal lord? A king? No matter how special the other party's identity is, in Whitebeard's eyes, they are just a pile of dog poop on the side of the road. As long as the other party does not threaten his family, Whitebeard will only treat them as a mobile ATM. After the other party threatens his family, Whitebeard has already considered this kind of person as good as dead. Wait. The daimyo of the Land of Grass, who wanted to kill his family members, was shouting in extreme horror. But it was already too late. The sharp blade of the Murakumajiri instantly sliced through bodies. Those retainers of the daimyo couldn't react at all, let alone dodge Whitebeard's strike. Splurt. Their bodies were cut in half at the waist. The upper half flew into the sky while the lower half still stood in place, with a large amount of internal organs scattered around. The Murakumajiri did not touch the daimyo of the Land of Grass, but before the daimyo could feel relief, the sharp wind pressure from this strike, like an invisible blade, cut open the daimyo's body. Splurt. Blood and fat splattered. He died on the spot. Seems like I'm a step too late. Not far away, Kakashi, who was with Naruto, arrived late. He looked at the bodies all over the ground and murmured to himself. Now, it's not just a diplomatic incident. Could it be the daimyo of the Land of Grass? Kakashi's forehead was covered in sweat. He knew that even if he hadn't been late, he wouldn't have been able to change anything. Honestly, having been in the ninja world for so long, even though he had participated in the Third Great Ninja War, he had never seen anyone kill a noble with his own eyes, let alone seeing someone kill a daimyo. In the ninja world, ordinary nobles and daimyos are very different. Ordinary nobles, although not easy to provoke, at least there are quite a few of them in a country, somewhat similar to the ninja clans of the Kanahagakure village, just without the inheritance of ninjutsu. But the daimyo is different. The Land of Grass has only one daimyo. A country's daimyo is equivalent to the Hokage in the Kanahagakure village. Whitebeard's actions, equivalent to killing a Hokage. Pops! Naruto, who was next to Kakashi, ran towards Whitebeard like a runaway fox. He excitedly said, "Pops, just now, Kakashi and I teamed up and defeated a ninja from Kusagakure village." The appearance of Naruto, this hot-blooded idiot's son, made Whitebeard's bad mood dissipate. The smile on his face no longer contained anger, but pure cheerfulness. Pure hearty laughter. Whitebeard laughed heartily and said, "Gururarara, foolish son, you've made some small progress. What level of ninja did you defeat?" Uncle Kakashi said it was a Chunin. Naruto had already run to Whitebeard's side. For the bloody scene in front of him, Naruto was already having a hard time feeling uncomfortable. Following his pop during this time, Naruto had seen several visual shocks. He used to turn pale and even vomit on the spot at first, but now he doesn't anymore. He has undergone several stimulating transformations. Suddenly, Naruto saw a red-haired child sitting on Whitebeard's shoulder. It seemed to be a little girl. "Pops, who is she?" Naruto scratched his head, a bit puzzled. "Foolish son, her name is Karen," Whitebeard introduced. "From today onwards, she is my daughter. And she is also a new family member, huh?" "Family? Huh? Daughter?" Naruto and Karen's mom's shocked voices almost sounded at the same time. "She is your new daughter, Pops? She's about my age." "Karen, what a good name." Naruto's eyes widened. At this moment, Karen, who was sitting on Whitebeard's shoulder, also quietly opened her eyes. Although she couldn't see anything just now, she heard Whitebeard talking to someone now. When Karen saw the bodies all over the ground, her little face suddenly turned as pale as paper. But after seeing her mother again, she recovered a bit. Then she looked at Naruto. Her little face was also confused and somewhat shyly introverted. "Hello." Naruto suddenly gave Karen a thumbs up. The smile on his face was as bright as it could be. In this dark and bloody Kusagakure village, it seemed particularly abrupt. "My name is Uzumaki Naruto." Naruto's smile came from his heart. He was indeed very happy at this moment. "I am also Whitebeard's son. I am his first son in the ninja world. You are Pop's daughter, so we will be family from now on." Uzumaki Naruto. Family? Karen couldn't help but pause. Perhaps Naruto's smile was indeed infectious. She plucked up courage. "My name is Karen. We are family," she said seriously with her little face. At that moment, the most confused person at the scene was Karen's mother. She never expected that after she went out to carry out a do-or-die mission, survived by a fluke, became a rogue ninja and returned to the village, her daughter Karen suddenly have a father. Karen, she acknowledged Whitebeard as her father. This might also be a good thing. Uzumaki Fushi knew that with her own strength, she couldn't provide Karen with a good environment. Being able to find a village like Kusagakure village was already the limit for her as a mother. She knew. She failed as a mother. "Mom is also my family," Karen suddenly added. She tried to speak in a serious tone, but compared to her age, this serious tone was somewhat cute. "Mom? Oh." Naruto clapped his hands together with an expression of great wisdom. He suddenly realized. "So you are the daughter of that big sister. I remember now." Whitebeard also looked at Uzumaki Fushi. This woman is only in her 20s. She should have been left with Karen when she was less than 20 years old. Now, Karen is about the same age as Naruto. She is only about 5 or 6 years old. That is to say, Uzumaki Fushi is only about 24 or 25 years old. At this age, in Whitebeard's eyes, she is a kid among kids. Uzumaki Fushi is very thin. Thin to the point of malnutrition. She actually has no will to live. In the dark den of Kusagakure village, if it weren't for Karen supporting her faith, she would have probably committed suicide long ago. "Red-haired kid?" Whitebeard asked Uzumaki Fushi. "In the entire ninja world, besides Karen, do you have any other family members? What about the husband who gave birth to Karen with you?" Uzumaki Fushi was taken aback and replied in a low voice. "My husband is also a survivor of the Uzumaki clan, but he abandoned us mother and daughter." "What an irresponsible guy." Whitebeard frowned. "Red-haired kid?" In Uzumaki Fushi's stunned gaze, Whitebeard actually reached out to her. "From today on, be my daughter." This sentence almost stunned Uzumaki Fushi. She looked up at Whitebeard in front of her. That sincere expression couldn't be faked. Uzumaki Fushi thought. The other party is serious. But She never thought that someone would want to adopt her as a daughter, let alone that someone would want to be her family member, especially such a person who is still a stranger. Since Uzumaki Fushi brought her daughter to Kusagakure village, she has never felt a trace of warmth. She suffers torment and hardship every day. Honestly, when she learned that Whitebeard had acknowledged her daughter Karen as his daughter, while she was happy for Karen in her heart, there was some envy that she herself didn't understand. Uzumaki Fushi has been displaced since she was young. Her parents died on the day when Uzushigakure village was destroyed years ago. Since then she has had no family members again. It took a lot of effort to have a husband, but the husband abandoned her and she lost her family again. Until Karen was born. The word family is extremely luxurious and difficult to obtain for an orphan like Uzumaki Fushi. But now, there is a man named Whitebeard who is willing to be her family and willing to recognize her as an orphan. Mom cried. Sitting on Whitebeard's shoulder, Karen stared blankly at the hot tears flowing from her mother's eyes. Karen could feel it. Her mother was not sad but rather felt a unique joy. That joy turned into tears. Karen felt it right. The inner surge of emotion and joy made Uzumaki Fushi completely forget. If she agreed, how should she and her daughter discuss their position as a mother and daughter? She spoke up. Pops! Gururarara! Whitebeard's hearty laughter echoed throughout the Kusagakure village. For Whitebeard today, there was nothing happier than adopting 2 daughters. Uzumaki Fushi, Uzumaki Karen. This mother-daughter pair from the Uzumaki clan joined the new Whitebeard pirates from this day forward. Stupid son, I have found you another family member. Remember, in the Whitebeard pirates, family members must trust each other and cannot hurt each other. Whitebeard's words seemed to be directed at Naruto, but also at Karen and Uzumaki Fushi. I will not tolerate any suspicion or harm among you. I will punish anyone who breaks this rule. Thinking of Blackbeard teach, Whitebeard's tone became extremely serious when he said the last sentence. He would not allow such a tragedy to repeat it. The appearance of a teach caused him to lose countless family members, which was unacceptable to Whitebeard. During the Summit War, he ultimately did not have the heart to deal with teach, which eventually led to a greater tragedy. If such a thing were to happen again, if there were another person like Teach, he would not be soft-hearted anymore. Pops, rest assured. Naruto's face was tense and very serious. I will absolutely not hurt my family, and I absolutely will not allow others to hurt my family. Uzumaki Fushi wiped her tears. She knew that her performance might be a bit embarrassing in front of her daughter, but she really couldn't hold back her emotions. Uzumaki Fushi took a deep breath. She said seriously, since I chose to recognize you as my father, I will use my life to follow your will, Pops. I'm like Mom. And Karen looked at Naruto, and like brother Naruto, Gururarara. Whitebeard laughed even more happily, his crescent-shaped beard trembling. You are indeed my children. The war at Marineford that brought a shadow over Whitebeard's heart. At this moment, completely dissipated, Kakashi watched this scene in silence. Even though the 4 of them had no blood relationship and 2 of them were from the Uzumaki clan and had just met today. Why were they so harmonious? Just because they all recognized this Whitebeard as their father? A simple Pop's word can make their relationship so good? Speaking of which, why didn't they reject Whitebeard's invitation? Recognizing someone as a father is definitely a big deal in life. They made such a decision so easily? Without consideration? Without thinking about it? Kakashi felt that this might be the unique charm of Whitebeard's personality, a kind of charm that instinctively makes people who lack a family trust in Whitebeard. After much thought, Kakashi felt that this was the only possibility. That being said, this so-called new Whitebeard pirate group, with the addition of Whitebeard, has now expanded to 4 members. One of them is aided by the 9 Tails, and the other 2 are members of the Uzumaki clan, who don't seem to be easy to deal with. How long has it been since? It's incredible. The next day, early morning, a group of civilians from the Kusagakure village, hiding in the back mountain, finally returned to the village in trembling group. They all fled to the back mountain temporarily for refuge. They didn't bring any supplies with them. If they continued to hide in the back mountain, they wouldn't have enough food, let alone enough clean fresh water. Now they could only brace themselves and return to the village. So many houses in the village have collapsed. Someone swallowed hard, utterly shocked. At least half of the houses have collapsed, especially those where the ninjas live. Not one is intact. Look over there, someone else exclaimed in horror. The ninjas' office building has collapsed. It was a building of more than 10 floors, now it's collapsed to only 1 or 2 floors. Look at all these bodies, all of them are fellow village ninjas. Was there truly a war last night? Did our village suffer defeat? There are more than 200 ninjas in our village. How could we lose? Could our leader already have? Shush, don't talk nonsense. What presented itself before these civilians was a devastated Kusagakure village, almost unrecognizable from its original state. 2/3 of the buildings in the entire village had collapsed. Of the remaining 1/3 of buildings in the village, most had suffered varying degrees of damage. The ground was covered with cracks everywhere. Many of these cracks had begun to seep groundwater, forming a complex network of rivers. A dense network of rivers spread across the entire ninja village. At first glance, it was incredibly shocking. Over there are 2 ninjas. A group of civilians from Kusagakure village suddenly noticed 2 ninjas busy at work not far away. They hurriedly swarmed over. Ninja-sama, what happened last night? Was there an enemy invasion? Did our Kusagakure village win? As soon as they reached the two ninjas, someone couldn't help but ask one question after another. The two ninjas were survivors from Kusagakure village. They were all wrapped in bandages, cleaning up the ruins of the village. Seeing a group of people coming up to ask questions, one of the ninjas, with his head down in despair, pointed to his empty forehead, where there was no ninja headband. He retorted, "What do you think?" Then he ignored these people and continued to clean up these ruins. They had been cleaning since last night. The civilians of Kusagakure village looked at each other. The scene gradually quieted down. Another ninja on the side was more talkative, and he said frankly, "Kusagakure village has become a thing of the past. The leader, the former leader of Kusagakure village, is already dead. Out of more than 200 ninjas in the entire village, only more than 30 are left." He spoke shockingly. More than 1,000 houses in the village, more than 700 have been razed to the ground. The daimyo who was temporarily living in the village also went to heaven with the leader of Kusagakure village. Now Kusagakure village is Whitebeard pirate crew's territory. From now on, the Kusagakure symbol in the village will be erased, and the entire village will hang the flag of Whitebeard pirate crew. After saying these words with a huge amount of information, he paused and said, "This is what happened last night. The remaining ninjas in Kusagakure village have to listen to Whitebeard. He asked us to clean up the ruins of the village." As his words fell, the civilians of Kusagakure village were shocked. That is to say, in just one night, Kusagakure village changed its name? Even the daimyo also died in last night's war? That's a daimyo. That has a position above all people. He was killed? Look, the ninja pointed not far away. Do you see that tall wooden pole over there? The flag hanging on it with a black background and white painting is the flag of Whitebeard pirate crew. In fact, when he said these words, even he himself was quite dazed, feeling like a dream. Overnight, his own ninja village was destroyed. Who would have thought that a dignified ninja village would be so vulnerable? On the other side, Naruto, acting like a little adult, strained his little face and imitated his pop's expression. Then, he spoke to Uzumaki Fushi and Karen, "Our Whitebeard pirates. First of all, it's a pirate crew. The most important thing a pirate crew should do is to occupy territory, rob treasures and recruit companions." He was discussing the Whitebeard pirate style with the two new daughters his pops had recently adopted. Looking at Naruto's enthusiastic and serious appearance, Uzumaki Fushi didn't interrupt him. Instead, she listened to this little adult talk with a gentle smile. Occupy territory, rob treasures, recruit companions? Is that what Dad is doing now? Karen was holding her mother's thin hand. Her little face was full of confusion. That's right. Naruto gave her a thumbs up, still clumsily imitating Whitebeard's speaking style. Karen, your understanding is very high. You are indeed a family member of Whitebeard pirate. We have already taken down the Kusagakure village. Now the entire Kusagakure village is our territory. This is occupying territory. From now on, the Kusagakure village has to pay us taxes every year. Of course, since this is our territory. Once the Kusagakure village is attacked, it's equivalent to attacking the Whitebeard pirates. Equivalent to provoking the Whitebeard pirates. Pops once said that if anyone dares to do this, the Whitebeard pirates will definitely counterattack and crush the other party. Naruto is now in the shape of a pirate. It's just that this pirate doesn't want to become the pirate king. After all, in the ninja world, there is no concept of pirate king. He is a little pirate who wants to surpass Hokage. Recruiting companions is easy to understand, Naruto said. We are all family members adopted by Pop. This is recruiting companions. Pops once said that family is the most important. The Whitebeard pirates have always been upholding? Uzumaki Fushi prompted when Naruto got stuck. Right. Naruto, who hadn't been to school, suddenly realized. Pops once said that the Whitebeard pirates have always upheld the principle of family first. Family is everything. The Whitebeard pirates are a family. Naruto believes that he is not only Pop's son. He is also the first crew member of the new Whitebeard pirate. He has the responsibility and obligation to explain some things to two newcomers. In fact, he was also repeating what Whitebeard had once said to him, and it wasn't complete when he repeated it, because the hot-blooded idiot can't remember very clearly. Family home. Uzumaki Fushi's hand, holding onto Karen's slender hand, trembled slightly. Even though she was already an adult, facing these two luxurious words, she still found it hard to remain calm. She looked at Naruto in front of her. Starting from last night, this child, who also has the surname Uzumaki, Is he her family too? With this thought in mind, the look in Uzumaki Fushi's eyes towards Naruto became even gentler. Hee. Naruto suddenly showed an excited smile like a little fox. And now, what our Whitebeard pirate group has to do is plunder treasures. Pops told us to find out where the Kusagakure village hides their treasures. Uncle Kakashi, please. Naruto turned his head to look at Kakashi, who had a speechless face and was full of black lines. I know. The dead fish eyes that Kakashi showed were full of resistance, but he had to compromise, because it was not Naruto who was asking him. It was Whitebeard asking him. Ninja art. Summoning jutsu. Kakashi took out a scroll, bit his thumb, and slammed it hard on the scroll. Bang. Woof woof woof. A group of ninja dogs wearing Leaf Village headbands were summoned by him. This kind of summoning technique made Naruto's eyes shine. Uncle Kakashi, can you teach me this? Naruto's eyes were like flashlights. Kakashi ruffled Naruto's hair and decisively refused. Let's talk about it after you understand the three-body technique I taught you a few days ago. Kakashi, why did you call us out again? The only talking ninja dog, Pakken, had a more depressed dog face than Kakashi. It even yawned. Kakashi put one hand in his pocket and the other on Naruto's head. Pakken, you should be able to smell the ink of money, right? I can. Pakken was confused. You want me to track money? I don't like that smell. Money is the dirtiest thing that human have. Kakashi said. It would be best to find where the Kusagakure village hides their money. Pakken was listless. This doesn't seem like your style, Kakashi. Could it be that Whitebeard asked you to do this? Kakashi looked at Pakken. Pakken looked at Kakashi. Three eyes met. Silence without words. Understood. Pakken, the dog, sighed dejectedly, feeling that his future life as a dog would be difficult. Would he have to smell money every day? Kakashi said to Naruto. If you follow Pakken, you'll be able to locate Kusagakure village's money. Great. Naruto was very happy with a brilliant smile. The efficiency of the ninja dogs was very high. Even though most of Kusagakure village had turned into ruins and there was still a faint smell of blood in the air, they still found the place with the strongest smell of money. It was under the collapsed office building of the leader of Kusagakure village, but a large pile of ruins from the collapsed building made Naruto scratch his head. Uncle, can you move these things? It wasn't until Karen timidly suggested it. Naruto, right? Kakashi. Uncle Kakashi. Naruto looked up at Kakashi. Okay. If he had another choice, he'd rather disobey the third Hokage rather than follow Whitebeard and Naruto. Taking a deep breath, Kakashi said, You guys step back a bit. He quickly formed hand seals. Earth release. Earth splitting technique. Boom, the earth split open. A large amount of building ruins also retreated to both sides, revealing a not-so-small underground space in front of them. The area of this underground space is estimated to be nearly 1,000 square meters. Kakashi looked down. Even he was stunned. How much village funds did the leader of Kusagakure village embezzle? He couldn't help but blurt out such a sentence. The underground space of nearly 1,000 square meters was filled with piles of banknotes, each pile at least 1.5 meters high. The length and width are about the same as a double bed. There are more than 10 piles. In addition, there is a small pile of gold bars stacked in the corner. Under the sunlight, it looks extremely golden. Those who don't know might think they have dug into a bank vault. Uzumaki Fushi next to him was shocked and murmured, These banknotes add up to 200 million ryo, right? These gold bars added up might also sell for 200 million ryo? 400 million ryo? Kakashi's dead fish eyes also widened. Even Konoha, such a super large-scale ninja village. The annual budget is only 1 billion ryo. This village leader. He's really good at making money. Kakashi was shocked. No wonder Kusagakure village looks so poor. Even the ninjas don't have a few exploding tags on them. So, all the money is right here. The entire Kusagakure village has been taken over by the Whitebeard pirate. No one in the village has any objections to this. At the same time, Whitebeard also obtained a large amount of wealth in the Kusagakure village, thanks to that money-loving leader of the Kusagakure village. If that Kusagakure leader was a capable person, there probably wouldn't be so much cash and gold in the basement of the Kusagakure village's government building. Unfortunately, he is not a capable leader. Under his leadership, the entire village exudes a sense of poverty and despicable from inside to out. After a careful count, it can be confirmed that the Whitebeard pirates harvested a total of 210 million ryo in the Kusagakure village, as well as 180 million ryo worth of gold. This amount, it's just a little bit different from Uzumaki Fushi's estimate of 400 million ryo. Urararara. Adding the money we robbed from the Land of Fire, Isn't it just 400 million Rio? Whitebeard laughed heartily. My foolish children. With these 400 million, we can build the Moby Dick. For Whitebeard, if a pirate group doesn't have a ship, can it still be called a pirate group? Moby Dick? Naruto scratched his head. What is that? Bang. Ouch. Naruto held his head with tears in his eyes. A big bump popped out on his head from Whitebeard's fist of love. Foolish son, Whitebeard said. This was once a pirate ship that accompanied me for many years. Once, Karen quietly moved away from Naruto a few steps. She was afraid that she would also get hit by Whitebeard's fist of love. Yes, once. Whitebeard's eyes flashed with reminiscence. In an unprecedented war, the Moby Dick, which once dominated the sea, was burned down, but the reminiscence in his eyes quickly disappeared. Whitebeard grinned and said, So, I want to rebuild an identical Moby Dick in the ninja world. This is a super battleship that can accommodate 1,600 people. 1,600 people. Uzumaki Fushi's eyes also widened a bit. The two children, Naruto and Karen, are not very sensitive to this number. But she, an adult, knows very well what this means. You know, in the whole Kusagakure village, including civilians and ninjas, there are only a few thousand people. In other words, this pirate ship can carry nearly 1/4 of the population of Kusagakure village. This is... how amazing! To build a battleship of this scale, I'm afraid you need to go to a place with rich shipbuilding experience? Uzumaki Fushi said. Land of Grass is an inland country in the ninja world. Even the largest river in the country cannot accommodate such a large ship. Gurararara. Wherever there is such a ship in the ninja world, the Whitebeard pirates will go straight there. Whitebeard laughed. Land of Water. After recalling for a while, Uzumaki Fushi said, The country with the strongest shipbuilding technology in the ninja world is the Land of Water. In fact, Land of Fire also has coastal areas. Kakashi quietly interjected. Maybe you can go back to Land of Fire and hire their shipyard to build such a ship. Naruto left the Land of Fire and came to the Land of Grass. It has already challenged Konoha's nerves very much. If he ran around again and go to Land of Water, won't it be farther and farther away from Land of Fire? If the shipyard of the Land of Fire is so powerful, where was their reinforcement ship when Uzushigakure village was destroyed? Uzumaki Fushi's question choked Kakashi. Honestly, when Uzushigakure village was destroyed, Kakashi might have just been born. He might not even have been born yet. How could he know what happened to the Uzushigakure village? White-haired kid. You are outsiders. Don't interfere with our Whitebeard pirates family meeting. Whitebeard glanced at Kakashi and made Kakashi shut up instantly. At this point, Uzumaki Fushi continued. In my childhood memories, many of Uzushigakure's ships were built by the Land of Water. Or simply bought from Land of Water. Land of Water? Naruto, holding the bump on his head, said, I think I've heard Grandpa Hokage mention this country, because it's one of the 5 great nations. Uzumaki Fushi smiled and said, Land of Fire, Land of Water, Land of Earth, Land of Wind, Land of Lightning, these are the 5 great nations of the ninja world. Among them, Land of Fire is the strongest in terms of comprehensive strength, and is also one of the most populous and affluent countries. Big sister, you know so much. Naruto was amazed. Pops, let's go to the Land of Water. Naruto was excited. Maybe we can pass by Karen and Big Sister's hometown on the way. It's called Uzushigakure village. Uzumaki Fushi's face flashed with loss. Who would want to be homeless in the ninja world? But it might be just a pile of ruins now. My hometown once experienced the disaster of national extinction. What? Kusagakure village was destroyed? The daimyo of Land of Grass was killed? What's the difference between this and national extinction? Land of Fire Konohagakure village, although it is a neighboring country, when the high-level officials of Konohagakure village learned about this matter, it was already several days later. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who had been discharged from the hospital for a long time and was still in a wheelchair, just returned to the Hokage office today. He was greeted with such shocking news. Sarutobi Hiruzen puffed and puffed on his pipe, his eyebrows furrowed enough to pinch a fly. His old face was full of solemnity. His eyes were full of incredulity. Edward Newgate. Sarutobi Hiruzen took a deep breath of smoke, feeling the spicy smoke swirling in his mouth. He felt that the wounds on his body that had healed not long ago were faintly painful again. The information returned from Land of Grass was a bit delayed in time, but the description was very detailed. From this information, Sarutobi Hiruzen knew very clearly what big things Whitebeard had done in Land of Grass. The entire Land of Grass. Except for Hozuki Castle, which has always maintained absolute neutrality, there are only more than 30 ninjas left. and in the entire Kusagakure village, all hung pirate flags. Sarutobi Hiruzen exhaled smoke, and publicly killed the daimyo. A giant who claimed to be a pirate forcibly seized a ninja village, and even seized a country. What is Whitebeard pirates? The neighboring countries of the Land of Grass encompass, not just the Land of Fire but also the Land of Waterfall, the Land of Earth, and the Land of Rain. Such a big event happened in the Land of Grass. They also got first-hand information. Hanzo of the Salamander, who is known as a demigod in the ninja world, has long lost his youthful spirit and ambition, and even lost his former faith. The whole person has become self-confident and suspicious with deep thoughts. In a short period of time, the land grass was destroyed. Hanzo of the Salamander's old face hidden under the gas mask showed a few serious and vigilant looks. Honestly, he is confident that with the strength of Amigakure village, he can do this too. After all, Kusagakure village is one of the bottom-ranked ninja villages in the entire ninja world. However, Amigakure village represents a country and represents the entire Rain country. And what does that Whitebeard pirate group represent? A pirate group that can destroy a country. This is unbelievable. For some reason, Hanzo of the Salamander suddenly thought of Akatsuki organization, which has been growing stronger recently. Back then he teamed up with Danzo to deal with Akatsuki organization but failed to destroy it. On the contrary, in recent years, Akatsuki organization, hidden in the dark, has gradually developed into a behemoth that shocked him. Really? He closed his eyes. Troublesome guys are popping up one after another. Who would have thought that at the critical time when we were planning to avenge Yahiko and preparing to kill Hanzo, such a powerful figure would appear in the neighboring country of Land of Rain, in one of the temporary bases of the Akatsuki organization, wearing a black cloak embroidered with red clouds, with light blue-purple hair tied up in a bun, and a pretty face. Konan is definitely the most dazzling flower in the Akatsuki organization. She pushed a wheelchair to a place where the sun could shine, looking forward to an undeveloped, dense forest in front of her. A man was sitting in the wheelchair. Compared to Konan, he could only be said to have a nose and a face, and he looked like a human being. Whitebeard, Konan said, I have never heard of this name. This should not be a person's name. It sounds more like a nickname. Nagato, do you think he will affect our actions? Konan inquired. No. Nagato, sitting in the wheelchair, shook his head. I don't know why, maybe it's an intuition, but being able to destroy a ninja village with one's own power and not being afraid of becoming the target of all country in the ninja world, killing the daimyo of a country, this person is indeed very remarkable. Nagato looked up at the bright sunshine. In this place called Amigakure village, there may be only less than 10 days in 365 days a year that can have such weather. I want to recruit him into Akatsuki. He's an exceptionally powerful individual. If he becomes one of us, the strength of our Akatsuki will undoubtedly reach new heights. Nagato finished speaking and then asked, Who do you think should be sent to contact this Whitebeard? Konan thought for a while. Orochimaru joined Akatsuki, but hasn't accomplished much. When given tasks, he performs them half-heartedly, and this has happened multiple times, she said. Akatsuki is not his shelter. This time, let Orochimaru and Sasori go together. Nagato nodded. Agreed. It's indeed time for him to move. The Whitebeard pirates have destroyed the Land of Grass. Will such an ambitious pirate group attack our Takigakure village? A ninja from the Waterfall country worriedly said. Leader, although no village has attacked us for decades, we must guard against the Whitebeard pirates. Pirates, they sound like thieves. They won't care about justice, they will only loot and kill. The leader of the Takigakure village sat in a chair. His hands were crossed, his elbows were on the desk, and he said, If a mere pirate group dares to invade the Waterfall country, let them come and never return. There is no need to worry too much. The leader of the Waterfall village continued. I believe that our Takigakure village is second only to the Amigakure. Don't forget, we have Jinchuriki. The power of tailed beasts is unmatched in the entire ninja world. As a village leader, his words also calmed the people in the Takigakure village. He was right. Although the Takigakure village is a small village, it has never experienced war in decades. It must have accumulated very strong power, which is not comparable to the Land of Grass. In addition, they also have the power of tailed beasts. In this way, they are even more confident. Absurd. How can anyone dare to kill a daimyo? The Whitebeard pirates, only such thieves can do such rebellious things, right? Land of Earth Iwagakure village. The information of Rock village is 2 days behind Konohagakure village, Amigakure village, and Takigakure village. After all, although this village is very defensive, It is also very difficult to communicate with the outside world. And Inoki's stubborn character represents his extreme disagreement with Whitebeard's approach. There are few unwritten rules in the ninja world. One of them is, never kill nobles and daimyo. Ninjas who dare to break this unwritten rule will basically be regarded as heretics among ninjas. It will also be wanted by the entire ninja world. Become a wanted criminal. Throwing away the information file in his hand, Inoki snorted coldly. If this so-called Whitebeard pirate group dares to appear in the land of Earth, Iwagakure village will destroy it. But Inoki's cunning eyes flickered. The land of grass has lost the Kusagakure village and the land of grass's daimyo, which means that the entire country is in a state of leaderless chaos. He was tempted. In his life, Inoki had always considered the interests of the village every day. But soon, he shook his head again. Land of grass, it's too poor. Even if the Iwagakure village didn't take action against the nobles of the land of grass, there was no way to squeeze any resources out of such a poor country. But obviously, Inoki would not take action against the nobles. In addition, the Kusagakure village in the land of grass had probably been looted by the Whitebeard pirate. If they made a big fuss about it, they probably wouldn't make a profit. As the news of Kusagakure village being destroyed and land of grass's daimyo being killed continued to spread in the ninja world, the nobles and daimyos of all major ninja countries immediately became restless. The first to become restless were naturally the nobles of the land of grass. They could never have imagined that their country's daimyo had become a corpse cut in two overnight. The nobles of the land of grass were furious and terrified. The strong sense of crisis made them restless day and night. Before this, almost no ninja dared to mess with them, nobles or daimyos. The life and death struggles between ninjas had nothing to do with them, these nobles. But now, the appearance of the Whitebeard pirates broke this unwritten rule, making all the nobles in the land of grass worry about their safety. After several days and nights of intense discussion, they finally came to a conclusion. They must kill the person who broke this hidden rule, so that no other ninja attempts such actions. The nobles of the land of grass began to contact other ninja countries' nobles. The nobles of other ninja countries naturally feared people like Whitebeard. Not a single noble, who initially held a high position, wants to turn into a dead meat. So, a bounty on Whitebeard circulated throughout the ninja world. This bounty was astonishingly a joint fund raised by many ninja countries' nobles and daimyos, and announced to all major ninja villages. Bounty Criminal. Edward Newgate, a nickname. Whitebeard, Country Destroyer, Giant Group. Whitebeard Pirate Level. S-Level Bounty Criminal Bounty. 100 million Rio requirement. Kill. When such an astonishing bounty appeared on different ninja village missions, it was enough to shake the entire ninja world. A whopping 100 million Rio, a small ninja village's annual budget, is probably just this number. This also happens to show how afraid of death those nobles and daimyos in the ninja world are. Kanahagakure village. In the office of the Hokage building, Uchiha Itachi, who was guarding outside the office, could vaguely hear a noise coming from inside. Sarutobi. Whitebeard's actions have made the entire ninja world aware of his existence. Shimura Danzo's face was gloomy as he slapped a bounty order for Whitebeard in front of Sarutobi Hiruzen. A bounty of 100 million, almost comparable to you, the Hokage of Konoha, Danzo said. Such a high bounty for Whitebeard will definitely arouse the curiosity of various ninja villages. Once they investigate in certain directions, it won't take long to find out that Uzumaki Naruto is the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. He didn't wait for Sarutobi Hiruzen to speak. He started to talk endlessly. Uzumaki Naruto can hide his Jinchuriki identity in the village. Once the power of the Nine-Tails leaks out, it can be sealed in time. But outside the village, once the power of the Nine-Tails inside him leaks out, even a blind man would know he is the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. And another thing, his Shimura clan's casino in the Land of Fire was actually robbed by Whitebeard. The damn Whitebeard even forcibly demanded that this casino give him no less than 70% of the profits every year. Danzo was very angry when he learned about this news a while ago, and Sarutobi Hiruzen was puffing on his pipe indifferently. The entire office was filled with smoke. The pungent smell of secondhand smoke made Danzo frown. Danzo, what do you want to do? Sarutobi Hiruzen looked up at Danzo standing in front of him. Assassinate Whitebeard. Danzo's eyes flashed with killing intent. Whitebeard and the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki have established a bond that should not be established. He must die. Sarutobi Hiruzen knocked on the table with his pipe. The table was information from a few days ago. Whitebeard was able to destroy the entire Kusagakure village with his own power, and he was able to defeat me in the village. Sarutobi Hiruzen asked, "What confidence do you have that you can assassinate him?" That's because you're old. That's because you're useless. That's because you should retire. These 3 sentences flashed through Danzo's mind, but he didn't say them. Instead, he said, the reason why Kusagakure village was destroyed is that they are too weak. Even I can destroy Kusagakure village overnight. And don't forget, Sarutobi, we are Konoha. Danzo continued. As long as you are willing to lend me a person, I guarantee that I can take Whitebeard's head. Who? Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't agree, but asked instead. Danzo spit out a name. Uchiha Shursui. Shursui. Sarutobi Hiruzen closed his eyes. After a while, he shook his head. I feel this method is too extreme. This is not our style in Konoha. And Shursui is very special. He is a very special Uchiha. I don't want him to have an accident. Sarutobi Hiruzen said. This young man concerns the future of Uchiha and the village. Damn it. Refused again. Danzo gritted his teeth. Sarutobi, you are too indecisive. Once Jinchuriki is used by Whitebeard, how can you face the second Hokage? How can you face the first Hokage? Danzo, what I say is what it is. Even sitting in a wheelchair, Sarutobi Hiruzen said so. Don't give orders to Root without my permission. Sarutobi, every time I come to you with some suggestions, you refuse and refute me every time. Danzo could no longer restrain himself, exclaiming, all my suggestions are in the best interest of Konoha. If you remain so indecisive, Sarutobi, you'll regret it. Danzo, I am the Hokage. Sarutobi Hiruzen said lightly. Bang. Danzo didn't bother to listen to what Sarutobi Hiruzen had to say next. He turned around, opened the door, and slammed it. The force was so great that the door almost broke. Shimura Danzo, who had left the Hokage's office, suddenly noticed Uchiha Itachi standing by the door. Although Itachi was wearing an umbu mask at the moment, Danzo still recognized him, and he paid close attention to Uchiha Itachi, and understood him very well. Danzo took a deep look at him again, but didn't say much. He left the Hokage building directly. When he got outside, I am the Hokage, I am the Hokage. The more Danzo thought about it, the angrier he got. His hands were shaking. Damn Sarutobi, can you say anything else? In these short 2 or 3 months, Danzo had gone to Sarutobi Hiruzen for various reasons, about the Uchiha clan, about Whitebeard, about Jinchuriki, but without exception, all he could hear from Sarutobi Hiruzen's mouth were those 5 words that left him speechless. I am the Hokage. Sarutobi, if you don't want to do this kind of thing, I'll do it for you. A hint of gloom flashed in Danzo's eyes. His gaze turned in a certain direction, where the Uchiha clan was located. Uchiha. Shursui. Meanwhile, Sarutobi Hiruzen quietly watched Danzo's retreating figure, silently smoking his pipe, without making a sound until Danzo's figure completely disappeared from sight. The smoke from his pipe engulfed half of Sarutobi Hiruzen's face. The half that was exposed showed a hint of worry, the half that was submerged carried a hint of a smile that ordinary people couldn't detect. After all, some things are not suitable for him as Hokage to do, or even mention. Land of Fire, a remote small town, a rebuilt casino, looked very simple. Rather than calling it a casino, it was more like a large wooden shed that had just been set up. You're cheating. You must be cheating. Tsunade, who had lost all but 20 ryo of the money she had won from Whitebeard in less than half a month, was furious. Her gnashing appearance made the person in charge of the casino sweat profusely and extremely nervous, because this casino had been hit by Whitebeard's poisonous hand not long ago. That day also thoroughly made the people in the casino understand that when someone wants to break some rules, they can't stop them. Tsunade-sama, the current temporary person in charge of this casino, is not from the Shimura clan, because that person from the Shimura clan is still in the hospital and hasn't come out yet. You are welcome to inspect our casino facilities. If you really find any cheating behavior, we are willing to compensate you double. The person in charge of the casino showed great humility. Tsunade didn't take his words seriously, because she was just venting her frustration earlier on. I don't believe it. Today I will use my last 20 taels to win your casino. Just as Tsunade took out her last banknote, Shizune rushed in anxiously with Taunton in her arms. Shizune, who was holding Taunton, quickly ran over to Tsunade's side. Tsunade-sama, something big has happened. Tsunade was taken aback. Before she could say anything, Shizune had already leaned over and whispered something into her ear. Tsunade's eyes widened as she listened. What? The news that Shizune brought back was surprisingly about Whitebeard. After all, they were in a relatively remote place. Plus, there was no one specifically delivering information to them. Their news was more delayed than anyone else's. Tsunade was dumbfounded. How long have they been gone? They've caused a big event that has shocked the entire ninja world? And hasn't Whitebeard's stitches been removed yet? In the end, she is still a medical ninja. Tsunade frowned and said, "Before he left, I told him that it would be best not to exercise vigorously for 2 years. Did he forget my medical advice as soon as he turned around?" Shizen weakly said, "Tsunade-sama, Whitebeard's physical condition is extremely bad. If he doesn't rest for 2 years after the operation, his chronic illness may recur. That's also his choice." Tsunade sighed. "I've never seen such a willful old man before." "Tsunade-sama, should we catch up with Whitebeard and continue treatment for him?" Shizen asked softly. "Maybe we can completely cure his body?" "Huh." Tsunade looked at her in surprise. Shizen was poking at Tauntaun's little hand restlessly. She weakly explained, "Naruto is the child of Namake's Minato, and Whitebeard is currently Naruto's only relative. I think we shouldn't let such a poor child experience the feeling of losing a loved one twice." Tsunade was silent. Even if Whitebeard is wanted by the entire ninja world and is called the evil nation-destroying pirate. But from my contact with Whitebeard, Shizen continued, maybe those people misunderstood something? Whitebeard is not that kind of unforgivable person. Tsunade ignored Shizen. She slapped her last 20 ryo on a simple gambling table. Under Shizen's disappointed look, Tsunade gambled wildly. She shouted, bet big, bet 6 sixes. What are you dazing for?" Oh. The casino dealer hurriedly shook the dice cup, and it took half a minute before he slammed the dice cup on the table. "Open!" Tsunade stared closely to prevent the casino from cheating. The dealer hurriedly opened the dice cup. Then, under Tsunade's stunned expression, the casino dealer slowly took away Tsunade's last 20 taels and showed a shy smile. "Tsunade-sama, do you want to continue?" "Tsunade. Gamble your ass. You must have cheated. I just didn't see it for now. Let's go." Tsunade got up with a black face. Shizen followed behind. Soon, Shizen was puzzled to find that the direction Tsunade was going was not where they were temporarily living in this town. "Tsunade-sama?" She quietly reminded. "Did we go the wrong way?" "No." Tsunade said expressionlessly. "If you lose all your money in gambling, you must earn it back." "Earn money?" Shizen was taken aback. Whitebeard destroyed Grass Ninja Village, and all the wealth of the entire small country ninja village is in his hands. "He is probably richer than some nobles," Tsunade said. Huh? Shizen exclaimed. "Tsunade-sama, have you accepted my suggestion?" Tsunade didn't answer, because she was momentarily switching between Nawaki and Naruto, two very alike faces in her mind. In her ears, there is also a sentence once said by Whitebeard echoing, "Whitebeard pirates is a family." Family, Tsunade murmured to herself. What a charismatic old man with full personality, charm, and ideals that are incompatible with the ninja world. "Huh? Tsunade-sama, what are you talking about?" Shizen didn't hear clearly. Thinking about how to eat Tauntaun, Tsunade casually replied, "Nani? Ninjutsu. Transformation jutsu." Bang. A figure that looked somewhat similar to Kakashi appeared, and Naruto looked at his adult body in surprise. "Uncle Kakashi, I've learned the transformation jutsu too." When the Nine Tails didn't deliberately interfere, Naruto's talent in learning ninjutsu was definitely top-notch. "I really look like Uncle Kakashi now." Naruto peeked at his reflection in a small pond. He was full of surprise. In less than a month, he has learned all 3 body techniques. Kakashi murmured to himself with a hint of emotion in his lifeless eyes, and he is just a 5-year-old child. Shaking his head, Kakashi slowly walked over to Naruto and carefully examined Naruto's transformed appearance. "There are some flaws," Kakashi commented. "My eyes are double-lidded, but you've transformed into single-lidded eyes. As a ninja, you need to pay attention to very detailed things." Bang! Naruto undid the transformation jutsu, took a deep breath, and used the transformation jutsu again. He still transformed into Kakashi. "Uncle Kakashi, how about now?" Naruto asked. This time it's good." Kakashi nodded in satisfaction. It seems that the child of Minato and Kushina has indeed inherited their innate talent for ninjutsu. Even though Naruto lives a carefree life being protected by others, he was able to master the 3 body techniques in such a short time. "That's really amazing. Uncle Kakashi, teach me some more powerful ninjutsu." Naruto was eager to try, the kind that can be used in battle. That way, if there's a fight in the future, my dad won't need to take action. "I can do it myself. We need to test what your chakra attribute is." Kakashi was a bit overwhelmed by Naruto's eager gaze. "Chakra attribute?" Naruto scratched his head. Kakashi rummaged through his ninja tool bag and finally pulled out a crumpled piece of paper. This is chakra test paper, Kakashi explained. As long as you infuse your body's chakra into this paper, you can know what your chakra attribute is. Everyone's chakra attribute is different, so the ninjutsu they need to learn is also different. If a ninja doesn't have fire attribute chakra, then he can't learn fire release ninjutsu. If all attributes are very weak or there is no chakra attribute at all, it means that this person is not suitable to be a ninja. Is that so? Naruto hesitated a bit. He was worried about what if he was the latter kind that Kakashi mentioned. What should he do then? He couldn't hide his little expression at all. Gururarara. Stupid son. Whitebeard, who was sitting on the side, laughed and scolded. Where's your resolve? With your hesitant nature, do you still want to surpass the Hokage? Whitebeard's words gave Naruto courage. He released his chakra and infused it into the test paper in Kakashi's hand. Suddenly, the test paper began to change. Kakashi's eyes widened suddenly. No way. He looked at the test paper and then at Naruto. His expression was very surprised. What's wrong, Uncle Kakashi? Naruto was a bit uneasy. Wind. Kakashi was taken aback. Does the child of Minato and Kushina only have one type of chakra attribute? This was somewhat different from what he had imagined. Wind. Naruto scratched his head after hearing it. I remember that Hokage Grandpa also uses wind release ninjutsu, right? Hokage-sama is indeed quite good at wind release, Kakashi said. I've seen Hokage-sama's wind release. It's very powerful. If you practice hard, you might be as good as Hokage-sama in wind release. Can I be as powerful as the Grandpa Hokage? Naruto's eyes widened and he said joyfully, then, doesn't that mean I can become a Hokage like Grandpa Hokage in the future? Ouch. Naruto was rewarded with a flick on the forehead by Whitebeard. This flick turned Naruto's transformation technique back to its original form. Naruto held his head and howled in pain. Foolish son, don't become such a rotten person. Whitebeard looked down on the third Hokage. Because of what he did to Naruto, it shows that he is not a qualified guardian. Especially after Whitebeard took Naruto as his son. He hated the third Hokage even more. Perhaps, only Whitebeard could openly say that the third Hokage of Konohagakure village is a rotten person, right? Kakashi's mouth twitched, then he noticed Karen next to him. Looking at Karen's timid eyes, Kakashi thought for a while and asked, do you want to try? Karen looked at Whitebeard and found that he was still scolding Naruto, and Naruto was obediently being scolded. Karen looked at her mother again. Uzumaki Fushi stroked her little head. She smiled gently and said, go ahead and try. Kakashi-san is not a bad person. He is different from those ninjas in Kusagakure village. After hearing this, Karen nodded. She walked to Kakashi's side. And at this time, Kakashi also took out another test paper. It was also wrinkled. It was obvious that it had not been well preserved. As for the test paper used by Naruto, he destroyed it. After all, if you use this kind of thing and don't destroy it in time, there's a high probability that the enemy will become aware of it. At that time, what kind of ninjutsu you will use. The enemy basically has a rough understanding. Karen tried to extract the chakra from her body. She knew how to extract chakra. This was taught by Uzumaki Fushi. Soon, the new test paper changed. Water, earth. Kakashi thoughtfully said to Shizen, you are more suitable for learning water release ninjutsu and earth release ninjutsu. In addition, as a descendant of the Uzumaki clan, you may also be able to learn medical ninjutsu and the Uzumaki clan's ancestral seal technique, Gulala, water and earth. Whitebeard's attention was attracted by these words. He rubbed Karen's little head and directly messed up Karen's hair. He laughed heartily. It seems that my daughter of Whitebeard is naturally suitable for going out to sea and staying on the ship. Just because she has a water affinity, is she suitable for going out to sea? Kakashi couldn't understand Whitebeard's straightforward and brutal logic. The next moment, Whitebeard suddenly said to Kakashi, teaching 1 is teaching, teaching 2 is also teaching. As soon as these words were spoken by Whitebeard, Kakashi realized something was wrong. Teach my daughter too. Whitebeard patted Kakashi on the shoulder. The huge force on his shoulder almost made Kakashi kneel on one knee. Gururarara. Whitebeard glanced at Kakashi. You wouldn't want to refuse, would you? Kakashi. I've always liked being a teacher since I was a kid. Kakashi said something very against his will. He pulled out a forced smile under his mask cover. Looking at Karen, Kakashi said, then you will learn together in the future. Thank you, Kakashi-sensei. Uzumaki Fushi gratefully said. With your level of ninja tutoring, Karen will definitely grow into an excellent female ninja. After this wave of flattery, Kakashi almost thought he was really a good teacher. He sighed in his heart. The order of the third Hokage forced him onto the pirate ship, and he had no chance to get off the ship even if he wanted to. It's too hard. The next day, after a whole day of practicing ninjutsu, Naruto began receiving special training from Whitebeard the next day. However, this training was a bit different from the usual physical training. Observation haki? Naruto, who was holding a piece of black cloth, was a bit puzzled when he heard this strange term. Pops, is this a ninjutsu? In Naruto's impression, his dad always said that he was not a ninja, so how could his dad know this ninjutsu? You foolish son! Whitebeard gave Naruto's little head another loud snap, which made Naruto tumble over. Fortunately, these days, Naruto's head has become harder and harder. Such force actually didn't cause a big bump. Isn't this a kind of progress? Observation haki is not some fancy ninjutsu, it's a power from the sea. Whitebeard meant, this is not a power possessed by the ninja world. Not a ninjutsu? Naruto touched his head. Is it taijutsu? It's perception, Whitebeard said. Once you learn observation haki, it means you have an extra eye. This eye can let you perceive the breadth of all things, even detect emotions, see through things, and perceive over a large range. Byakugan? Not far away, Kakashi, who was teaching Karen the clone jutsu, suddenly thought of this term. While Whitebeard was talking to Naruto, he had been eavesdropping. No, this is not eavesdropping, it's openly listening. Mainly because the observation haki, described by Whitebeard, is very similar to the Byakugan in Kakashi's impression. Even more comprehensive than the Byakugan of the Hyuga clan. For example, the ability to detect emotions. In Kakashi's memory, Byakugan does not seem to have this ability. But observation haki does. This outrageous perception ability can actually be cultivated later? At this point, just listen to Whitebeard continue to say, on the sea, there are 3 kinds of haki. They are observation haki, armament haki, and conqueror's haki. When I knock people out without moving my body, I use conqueror's haki. I've explained observation haki to you. Armament haki is to give people an invisible armor that can enhance a person's defense and attack power. Whitebeard grinned. Advanced armament haki can give people a body harder than steel. Ninjutsu can't harm a body strengthened by advanced armament haki. What Whitebeard said was, full body armament haki. The 3 types of haki he mentioned made Naruto's eyes shine. Wow, that's amazing! Naruto pulled Whitebeard's finger. Pops, teach me. Gururarara. Today I'm going to teach you observation haki. The smile on Whitebeard's face began to become somewhat meaningful, but Naruto didn't notice it. Tie this black cloth on your head and cover your eyes until you can't see anything. Okay, Pops. Naruto immediately did as he was told. Naruto, who fell into darkness in front of him, asked curiously, Pops, what should I do next? Ah! Before he could finish his sentence, Naruto screamed out loud. This is not a cry of pain. It's a scream, because Whitebeard had already pinched a stone from the ground and threw it at Naruto without hesitation. Whitebeard's laughter sounded like a devil. Gururarara. Foolish son, this is the practice method of observation haki. I have shattered a big stone into 1,000 small stones for you to practice. Dodge as much as you can.
And that concludes this episode. If you enjoyed it, I'd seriously love it if you guys could leave a like on the video, as it genuinely helps out so much, and it keeps me going, plus it takes only 1 second. That said, have a wonderful day. See you in the next one.